What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is draft night, less than an hour. Jaguars are on the clock. Aiden Hutchinson on the TV as we speak. Will he go first? Will he go second? It's probably going to be one of the two, but I know who's going first around here, and that's my co-host, Mr. Mike Roop. There it is. Find him on Twitter. Roop, I'm glad that you could be here tonight. We got a great show tonight. We actually got some guests showing up tonight to talk about the draft and football and free agency and whatever else they want to talk about. I'm excited for tonight, not just because of the draft, but it's just going to be a great show. It's going to be a great night. How you feeling?
Well, originally when I signed on for this, I was thinking, yeah, it'd be great for a draft show. And then I thought, we're going to be here for a good 4+ hours. And I was like, yeah, let's bring on the fun. Let's see what we can come up with. This will be our longest show, right?
I mean, other than the times we've been just like rambling on and stuff like that, I think like officially this is our longest officially slotted show. Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Well, that's the worst part because, I'm a little upset because last season I said, hey, I'm winning one of my leagues next year. And then free agency happened and everybody got traded everywhere. Quarterbacks are getting overpaid. And then they send their wide receivers away. I don't even I'm going to eat my words this year. I don't even know what to do anymore. I have so much work to do. And I hope that you can fill me in on some stuff because this is draft night. We're going to see some prospects, but I think
it's draft night. So, I mean, nothing can go wrong.
Yeah.
Look,
okay.
It's other than the fact that my wife graduated from IU, and so I got this like IU symbol like right behind me all night. But
never heard of her.
Exactly. So the Jags are on the clock. Nobody knows who's actually going first. It's one of two. Where are you leaning? Like who do you think out of the two?
Go with Hutchinson. Everybody's
you like Hutchinson better.
Yeah, he's I think he's just got that little extra bit, that little extra heart, and is going to be there every down. And I think he's going to be number one, even though he probably wants to be drafted by Detroit or something. But we'll see. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, it's funny because everybody had Hutchinson number one for weeks going up until now. I can see Kuiper on there. He's talking about Hutchinson right now. He's got the top 5 up there. Hutchinson, Ekwonu, Gardner, Hamilton, Neal. I mean, those are his guys 1 through 5 on the picks. And then after that, he's got Stingley, Thibodeau, Wilson, Garrett Wilson, Trayvon Walker, and Drake London. So he's got Travion Walker in the top 10. He in his last mock draft, he had him second. He grades Hutchinson, I think, at 94, and Trayvon, here we go, at 93. So he's got him very close. McShay actually has Trayvon Walker going first. But the point I'm starting to make is that Hutchinson has been the number one guy all the way up until the last few days, maybe the last week or so, 10 days, somewhere in there, because you got to have draft drama. So my question to you is, are we talking about, will Hutchinson go first? Is this a question because it's actually a question, or is it just draft drama?
I think they're trying to feed into the draft drama. Like there's some in there that could be a little bit, but like past years, we all knew who was going number one, with Burrow and Murray and Mayfield and just anybody who's really coming out and Trevor Lawrence, like we knew weeks before it was going to happen. I think there's a little bit of drama with it. Is it going to be like shocking? I hope nobody tries to move up and get a second pick for something you're like, who? And so I don't think that's going to happen. I think the drama is going to be a little bit later after the first couple picks. But, we'll see. What do you think? How are you feeling today about the excitement of the draft and anything else on your mind?
I guess that, I am excited about the draft, obviously. I kind of actually want to believe that Walker's going to go first.
Walker.
But again, I don't want to fall for the draft day. I don't want to fall for the trick. I don't want to fall for the NFL trying to lead me down a path that I shouldn't go down.
I heard a lot about him. I like Walker. I think he could go first. I think they're leaning towards that also with on the NFL and everything. Maybe Hutchinson wants to go to Detroit for sure, and they're like, "Hey, you got to pick the other guy because I want to go to Detroit."
I mean, could we have like a behind the scenes Eli Phillip Rivers situation? Where Eli was like, Phillip Rivers, I'm just not playing for those guys, and so now.
I was watching a lot of the old drafts, from years and decades ago, and there was a lot of players that said, "I'm not going to play for them. I'm not going to play for the Baltimore Colts," and yes, they were a team once, and it was a ways back. So like I was just watching this, I'm like, okay, like some people don't like the brass, so they don't really want to play there, or they don't like what they've done with the team, and so that could play a factor behind the scenes that we may not know about, or NFL doesn't know about. So
sure,
we'll see.
Well, if you're joining us, welcome, and we will welcome you all again as the show goes on. We are still an hour out, so everybody may not be here yet, and that's fine. We know you guys are trickling in. I've got some text messages already. You saw me typing. Guys are watching on the YouTube channel and whatnot. If you guys, when you do join, of course, we see your comments live. So feel free to make the comments. We'll get to them as fast as we can. Follow the link. Just hop on in and join the show. We'll put your beautiful mug up there next to our ugly faces, and you'll make the room look better. And you can bring your comments straight from your own mouth. Someone that we like to talk to and that has agreed to be the first one on tonight. If you've seen the show before, if you're a fan of the show, you've seen him before. If you're on Facebook and you're in fantasy groups or just in sports groups, you've probably come across the Great Union of Sports. The guy who runs it has agreed to be our first guest tonight, and I'm sure he has some things to weigh in. Let me welcome everybody to someone who needs no introduction in his own household, Mr. Dakota Nix. How you doing, bud?
I'm good, fellas. How are y'all?
We're doing well. I mean, we're just kind of like, I know you heard us because you're kind of sitting there off screen, but talking about all this. The first question, of course, that everybody's talking about is it draft hype, or is there an actual switch going to happen between Hutchinson and Tavion? What do you think?
Well, I know going back to like February, I think it switched a lot. It was I know they were talking about it being Hutchinson at one point.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking about Thibodeau at one point.
Sure.
Trayvon Walker popped up like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
I was actually looking at Bovada earlier. It's an offshore betting website, and right now we're looking at minus 450 odds for Trayvon to go first. So he's looking like the favorite right now. Number 2 is Aiden Hutchinson at plus 400. So he's looking like a pretty heavy favorite to go number 1.
Who are you thinking is going to go number 1?
Man, I had it pegged as Hutchinson until like 2 days ago. It just seemed
and so
lock in on Hutchinson, and now it's Trayvon all of a sudden.
So that's my thing. Like, are we getting Duke just to create drama? Is the NFL messing with us just so that we'll talk about it, or is this actually going to happen? Like, because honestly, that's what I was just telling Mike, is that I'm actually, I guess, kind of feeding into the hype. I think Walker might actually go first. When probably 5 minutes ago, I thought it was Hutchinson. I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot. Like I heard a lot of analysts talking about, as far as the Georgia prospects go, wondering if the sum of the parts was better than the individuals themselves. Maybe Trayvon had the benefit of playing around a bunch of badass Georgia defenders. Maybe he looked a little better than maybe he could have, but Hutchinson just looked very impressive to me. I don't know. Maybe You know, they do these whole processes. They do the combine. They do the individual workouts. They do the meetings. Maybe there's something Trayvon jumped off the page for him.
We've got, well, I mean, Trayvon did run a 4.5, which is the fastest by 270 plus guy. And I think it's since like, I don't know, it was a long time ago. It's been well over 10, maybe even 20 years. It was in the mid 2000s since anybody's been that fast.
It's a big boy moving fast.
What's that?
That's a big boy moving fast.
That's a big boy moving real fast. And if he can steer it and cut it on a dime, that's even more impressive, which obviously he can. We've got, it looks like roughly 48 minutes, and that's still, and then there's still the clock time. So we've got roughly an hour to debate this and figure it out. The one thing that everybody seems pretty unanimous about is that the third pick is going to be Ekwonu. Excuse me if I say that wrong. But that he's definitely going to be the third pick. Do you guys have any reason to argue with that?
I just had to look and see who had the third pick. Oh, it's Houston. Okay, yeah. I mean, they're going to need somebody to protect whoever's going to be the quarterback.
Yeah, and it says it on my sheet here, so I'm going to go ahead and.
So your sheet says it, so you're good.
It's funny. You don't hear a lot of these names, and then all of a sudden, everybody just starts shifting into different locations. Like, who's this guy, and why is he creeping up draft boards? When you see them going to, their senior day or some sort of extra exercise with the pros or anything extra that they can get a little FaceTime with, they start sliding up. And I mean, if you saw Sauce earlier, I mean, he's got the chains on, he's looking clean.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, okay, this guy's climbing up, and
those two Buckeye receivers look pretty sharp too.
We'll get into them, and I do think they are sharp. So the thing with Ekwonu, I definitely saw him play one or two games. Dude's 310 pounds, so he was offensive tackle. He's supposed to be really big. He's got really good agility. He's very fast. Like you said, I think it's a smart move for Houston to do that. And then I'm not going to say controversy. Most people have Neal going after Ekwonu. Kuiper's got Neal going fourth out of Alabama. Other boards have him going a little bit further down. But Ekwonu is clearly the number one pick. I don't think there's a lot of argument there. I think Neal is clearly the number two pick when you're talking about offensive tackles. And so then it really just becomes a need. So when we talk about needs, things go pretty textbook. I think a lot of chalk for the first 5 picks. I want to get to the 6th pick because the 6th pick is one that a lot of people are talking about, and that's Carolina. Carolina's got the 6th pick. A lot of people trying to, I think, bait us into thinking that Carolina might take one of these quarterbacks. Obviously, the hole in that reasoning there is that everybody is pretty much also unanimous that none of these guys are day one starters. And so my question is double-sided. Does Carolina take a quarterback, or is it all smoke and mirrors? And number two, does anybody that needs a quarterback take one of these guys in the first round?
Dakota Nix, is that your stage name? That's like a really, really cool name. I want you to take this one first.
Birth government name. I'm just the only one that I think looks like he has a lot of potential in this draft is Malik Willis. He's got the legs. He's got an absolute cannon of an arm.
I really like him.
The rest of them, Pickett, trust me, we drafted Jared Goff number 1. There might be something to that hand size thing. Who knows? The rest of them, like I can't even think of who else is in this draft. They're such afterthoughts.
Coral.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are putting Coral in, getting picked up tomorrow. I actually really like Coral. Obviously, I don't think he's game day ready. I do like Malik Willis. I think he's been kind pumped up. So I don't know if he gets drafted a little early. I think he is probably, he's definitely, top 2, top 3 that are coming out this year.
I think if Malik came out last year or next year, he would have been out of the top 5.
Yeah, he would have gone a lot higher. I agree.
I think he's the best one in this class.
He's got a fantastic skill set. I like Pickett's skill set too. I think Pickett gets a lot of attention because of his fake slide. He does have the smallest hands in NFL history. I don't know if that matters. The controversy is out there. They talk about it all the time. Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. I don't know if it does or not. But Jamar Chase might say that it does. So I don't know.
I'm going to go ahead and say that Malik Willis probably will be the first QB off the board due to his just all-around talent. But, when Kennedy Pickett is a game changer, he's a rule changer also. I mean, what he did.
He did actually change the college rule. Not a lot of guys can say that. It's like Tom Brady when he created the duck rule. Same thing, definitely.
Yeah. So I'm just saying,
dare pick a slide ever again.
Yeah, he's going to be. Some people are going to aim in for him. So I'm not saying he's better, but I think when you have that mentality to kind of like fake somebody out or not necessarily it'll be breaking a rule now. I think he's got a lot of football smarts, and I'm not saying he's going to be a starter because quarterbacks are deep right now and across the board, and there's maybe like 2 or 3 teams that can really think about their starter, but everything's kind of set. So could he come out first? Maybe, but I mean, when you really think about it, the rumors behind, is Baker Mayfield going to get traded to Carolina Panthers? Baker Mayfield is still a better quarterback than all the quarterbacks that are going to be in this draft.
So I brought up the Carolina at 6, and a lot of people are liking the story that maybe Carolina trades that 6 pick in some kind of deal. Maybe it's a 3-way, maybe it's 4-way, maybe it's directly to get Baker Mayfield. Now you hear the Carolina coaching staff talk, and they're very content with Sam Darnold. I don't know if anybody really believes it. I don't know if they believe it. I definitely think if they could work a trade to get Baker Mayfield, they would. I know the Jets are still very active trying to make something happen to get Baker Mayfield as well. So Mayfield is out there. Somebody raised the question on one of the shows I was watching, is Mayfield still a Brown at the end of the night?
Ooh, great question.
That is a good question. My gut says yes. I don't know if anybody's going to want to make a move for him at this point.
I think with that, what is he supposed to get? $18 million this year? I think that's the problem with it. And
it's an albatross for a lot of teams.
There's a question mark in Cleveland, and it's not only all the brass that's in the house, and as I question all of them in their thought process, but is their new starting quarterback can actually start any games or going to be suspended for any of them? And they want to keep Baker Mayfield around. And to be honest with you, I know everybody's going to call him a little whiner or whatever. If I was Baker Mayfield, I'd practice really, really hard week in and week out, and I would never play a game. Find me the $300K a game. I don't care what the brass did, what the organization did to him. I'm no longer a fan. I think it's time to move on from Baker Mayfield. Trade him, get him away, get him out of your hair, and just like you got to start fresh and new and just live with what the choices you make. Don't make that man play for you anymore. Like, move on. Like you already did enough. So I think he might still be there, but what I want the most tonight is I want Baker Mayfield to go to another team. And I don't really care where it's at. Maybe Steelers.
That's where I'm at this point. Like, just get Baker out of there. I don't care which team it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, it's better for him too, right? I mean, to get out of there. I mean, look, the guy's been sacked 1,000 times. He was hurt. The whole 9. I just don't understand. I get the whole pride thing and not wanting to give in to terrorists as far as Mayfield wanting to be out of there. But I just don't. I agree. I don't see the point anymore of keeping him there. Right?
Should have spent the second half of the year in a sling.
What's that?
I said he should have spent the second half of the year in a sling. My bad.
Yeah, I mean, just
No,
you
you're
know.
right. You're right. He should have. He absolutely should have. But he's got something that a lot of players fail. He's got that heart, and he'll play through it for his team. That's why I love him, because he'll keep going no matter what and give his team the best chance to win. And that's what I want on my team. I don't really care how skilled you are. If it's, fourth quarter, bottom of the ninth, whatever sport you're playing, if you don't have that heart to say, hey, we can pull this together and win, you kind of fall short for me. He has that, and I'll take him every step of the way. So
I'm
give
being
me the
honest.
heart over the skill.
If we were if the Rams still had Jared Goff as the starting quarterback, I would trade him for Baker Mayfield today.
Absolutely, I would too.
If the Rams, for Goff for Mayfield.
Yeah, if we still had Goff as the starter, I would trade him for Mayfield today.
See, now I thought the Goff trade was a big trade. I was really surprised that they were willing to get rid of Goff, but at the same time, I've always felt that Stafford was underrated and he just needed a situation, the right situation to be in. I just wasn't really sure that it wasn't too late. Clearly, it wasn't.
Say it again for the people in the back, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was so underrated. It wasn't even funny. To all that work in Detroit and then obviously come to a really good team in Los Angeles. I was like, okay, this guy is going to go all the way. Like, I feel it. When I drafted all my leagues, I was like, can I snag Stafford in a late round? Like, please. And, everybody's like, oh, he's washed up and all this. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's got a great everything around him. And sure enough, he pulled it off. So
still relatively young too, 33.
And I guess this is the thing about Stafford is don't get me wrong, he came into a great situation with the Rams, and then they pick up OBJ and made it a better situation talent wise. Picked up Darnold and all that, but let's not forget that at least offensively, and maybe that was the problem also was defensively. I mean, what was the issue that he couldn't get it done in Detroit as an LA fan? Because I mean, he definitely had talent around him at wide receiver, and definitely had running backs good enough. I mean, was it just the line? Was it the coaching, or was it a little bit of this and a little bit of that? As someone who really followed the team, well, no, I guess you wouldn't have followed it that much until he got to the Rams. But as football fans, I mean, what do you guys think held him back? Because he clearly had the skill. I don't think that was ever in doubt. But
I think a lot of it was that they didn't always have because he had a few good defenses, but they weren't always great on that side of the ball. And what I think I'm actually not 100 sure on this at all, but did he play one playoff game in Detroit, one or two? It wasn't very many.
It wasn't very many, and I believe he never won one. I don't think.
No, yeah, this is he got his first playoff win this year against Arizona.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of the upper management, a little bit of the coaching, a little bit of the offensive line, defensive line. Sometimes he had, the elite wide receiver, and then it was like, okay, I'll work with what I have. And I think one of the most memorable things from him that I remember is one when he went back in when his shoulder was injured and barely hold it up and, threw the winning touchdown for the score. And also,
yeah, I've seen that a lot on YouTube. I've rewatched that on Facebook, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, he threw a touch, like a deep pass or something at the end of the game, and he was like, "Oh, we got to spike it," and then boom, hike, first down, touchdown, whatever. I saw that. I'm like, this guy is up here, like in the game, and he has what it takes. And it was kind of sad, Detroit is not really known for winning championships. So it was really good to see him go somewhere where they gave him a chance, and he did not disappoint at all.
Not
one quick hypothetical: if Stafford plays with Barry Sanders, do they win a playoff game? Do they get
probably
somewhere?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, but if I'll do one more hypothetical because we can. Because look, it's just a party, everybody. We're just having fun. There's no format here. We're just having a good time. It's draft night. Talk about what you want. Join us on the show. Ask any question you like. If Stafford had played, and I'm getting very hypothetical here, Stafford had played with Barry and still had Megatron and still had that receiving core that he had, is it a different outcome, or is it like you said, the defense wasn't good enough, and so it didn't matter back then how good your offense was? If you didn't have the defense, you couldn't get it done.
Well, I think if you get Matthew Stafford plus the two greatest offensive lions that ever lived, I mean, he might score 50 points a game.
But is it enough?
Good.
I mean, this is the era of, back then, and it still holds true today, but even more so back then, offense wins games, defense wins championships. And Detroit's definitely never been known as a defensive team. Again, is that offense enough? Because even without Barry Sanders, they still had all those other pieces, and it wasn't enough. And don't get me wrong, Barry Sanders is a huge piece, which is why I asked the question.
Well, I mean, I think it'd be easier on Barry because he wouldn't be seeing 8 in the box every time.
True.
Yeah,
and he might have put up 3,000 yards in a season.
He might have. That's actually a good point. So to bring it bring it back around, offense wins games, defense wins championships is not. You still need a defense. I still think that holds true today, but you have to have the offense in today's NFL. The rules have been changed that way. That the positions, that everything has been changed to where offense dominates. Now, if you can't score, you can't win, and we see it. Over these past few seasons, we see it all the time. So back to Jacksonville, back to that first pick, understanding that rule of offense winning games, defense winning championships. Does that? My thing is you got to take the best. The rule is in the draft, you take the best player on the board, and so I get that. But the Jaguars' defense is not horrible. They're not the worst defense in the NFL. They definitely played some good games. When they were on, but when they were off, they were off. But the offense is, they've got some talent, but they do not have a number one wide receiver right now. They definitely need some offensive line help. We know, I'm not trying to suggest that the Jaguars are not picking a defensive player. Of course they're picking a defensive player, but position-wise, is that the best choice for them to take one of these defensive ends, one of these edge guys, or I guess, would you be surprised? Would you be mad at Jacksonville for taking one of these highly talented offensive tackles to help protect Trevor Lawrence?
I think if you look at it now, there's 4 positions that are crucial for football teams: quarterback, you got to have a good wide receiver, you need a good left tackle, and you got to have a good edge rusher or some kind of pass rusher.
Sure.
So as long as you're taking any of those 4 that high, I don't think they can screw that up. As long as that guy is that guy, I guess.
I think when it comes down to it, every team has the need. Like, they're clearly not going to go for a quarterback, but great. You get an edge rusher, pass rusher, fine, fantastic. You stop the other team from scoring once in a while, but if Trevor Lawrence is running for his life the whole time, you messed up. I think you need to go offensive line, make sure that he gets protected. That is your future. He's not going to be, some running back that's going to get 7 years, or, wide receiver that's going to get 8 or 9, whatever their lifespans are. Trevor Lawrence could be in for the long haul. You need to stay there and protect him, and he doesn't need to be taking hits at all right now. He needs to be protected in that pocket. I know that there may be a little bit like that guy's just a little bit better, but like you said, a 300-pound Ekwonu, bring that guy in and say, hey, you're our guy. Your best friend's right there. Go protect him. I feel like you protect that asset that your number one pick before, because you're number one pick again. Like, let's protect that. Let's try not to get a number one pick one more time. And if you do, then you can get one of those elite edge rushers next year.
Yeah.
Here's why I don't mind. Look, I don't think the Jaguars. Welcome back to the show. It's good to see you again. T suggests that it's the Jaguars. They can definitely screw it up. They've got Doug Peterson there now. And I'm not, calling Peterson the best coach in the world. He's definitely better than Urban Meyer. Yeah, I said that because it's true. As an NFL coach, Peterson's definitely better than Urban Meyer. He's too much of a distraction. Peterson's definitely going to be there for the team. But I don't think, even if they did shock the world and they took offensive tackle instead of defensive end, I don't think they screw up this pick. I think either one helps the team. The interesting thing about the Jaguars is that they have 12 picks this year, more than any other team in the NFL. So they're going to pick up a lot of potential talent. It's just going to matter if they can do anything with it. They're going to be, I think that what a lot of people might be overlooking, and I don't want to blow it out of proportion, but you take last year's picks and the talent level with Lawrence and Etienne and some of the other guys, and then the picks that they're going to get 12 picks this year, including the number 1 pick. It could be a year or two, and this team could be real dangerous, and for a long time. This is going to be a very young team.
Yeah, and they will be making the playoffs in the next couple of years. I can see it with all these picks, with all this, early picks where you get all these normal elite talents. Normally, they're not a bust, but I think that they can squeak in there somehow, some way.
But like T said, it is the Jaguars, and they were in a pretty good position probably 5 years ago, and now they're right back where they were.
They let go of everything, so they started from scratch. So
including one hell of a cornerback.
Something about an island, I don't know. That's my first day.
This is my first day. I'm just I don't know what's going on. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Don't miss those 2 first rounders at all.
There we go, a little better.
Don't miss those 2 first rounders at all.
You brought up Dakota. You brought up the Ohio State receivers because I am wearing my Ohio State gear, wearing my Shazier jersey. Or remember a couple years ago, very emotional moment as Shazier walks out on the stage to present the pick in the first round.
You love to see it.
I'd love to see stuff like that. I hope we see more stuff like that tonight. Just things that matter more than football during the draft. But you brought up the wide receivers for Ohio State, and I've had a few conversations about this, and I understand there's people getting paid a lot more money that know a lot more about these things than I do. But again, the general consensus across the board is that Wilson goes ahead of Olave. As an Ohio State fan, I obviously love Wilson. He put up huge numbers, definitely had some big games. He's a very talented receiver, but I'll tell you right now, as someone who is not paid to do this and a college NFL scout and all that, I would rather have Olave than Wilson. And I'll tell you why, because I've never seen a smoother route runner in college football, and we'll find out in the NFL. It reminds me very much of Harrison in Indianapolis. Reminds me of Jerry Rice. Just very smooth, very crisp, and I love the way he just sneaks in there. The knock on him, of course, is separation and physicality. I think it's an unfair assessment because he did play at Ohio State and he just really didn't have to be physical, and he was always in a position to catch the ball, and he always had someone to put the ball where it needed to be, but he always caught it. Maybe a little Chris Carter in there. I don't know if you guys pay attention as much as I do, of course, being a fan, but I am interested in your guys' thoughts of Wilson versus Olave, only because you brought it up, Dakota.
I think I caught maybe 3 or 4 Ohio State games this year, just the ones that were on national broadcast.
Yeah, it's something you had to watch, right?
Yeah, exactly. The thing that surprised me was I felt like when I was watching SportsCenter, the name I always heard on highlights was Olave. So when they came out and said that Wilson was the better prospect, I was kind of shocked by that. I was
very surprised. Yeah,
I was like, the guy I've heard about Olave the entire season. So where's this Wilson guy been the whole year?
Yeah,
I actually saw that too. I was thinking, every time I turn on the TV, it's Olave touchdown, and then they kept telling me, Wilson's the guy, and I'm like, why is he going earlier? And then I compared the stats, I compared the height, and and their body weight, and I got a little worried because, when I'm thinking like a dynasty league, I'm thinking, can I get Olave? Do I take him early on? And Then I'm like, okay, is he going to be, a little too light? But like you said, he runs those crisp routes, and you don't have to be the biggest guy on the field. I mean, there's plenty of people that showed that you can be a little bit easier. So um, I think I like Olave a little bit better. I don't think he's going to be the first one off the board. I think Drake London will probably be due to his
Yeah,
size.
it's funny you say that right there because Kuiper actually has Wilson going before Drake London, which also surprised me because I also thought that Drake London would come off the board first.
And
I don't think that wide receivers are super heavy this year, but I think the ones at the top are definitely. I think there's a huge separation between tier 1 and tier 2 at the wide receiver position this year. I do think that Olave and Wilson just kind of play a little bit different game. So I think maybe it's kind of a fit thing. What type of receiver are you looking for when you draft one of these guys? But you bring up that point about Drake London and just about the and so I bring up the point of the quality of the top tier receivers. Again, there's a small handful of these top tier guys, but I think the top tier guys are really good.
You know what I'm thinking of is with Olave and Wilson, you have 1A, 1B, right? And they both could be your number one guy. It also depends on where you end up. Like someone can go to a not so great team, or someone like, hey, I'm the number one wide receiver and I have a great quarterback. That's the guy that's going to shine. So I really don't. It doesn't matter. Like if you get picked early, odds are your team isn't that good. But if you get picked in the later rounds, it's okay. You probably have a better chance of making a championship. So you make a little bit less money right off the bat, but that's okay. You play a couple years, earn your contract, and then make that big money. But I wouldn't be upset going anywhere in the first round, especially those later rounds with the stacked teams.
But I mean, you bring up a point. If you're, Jamar Chase goes to Atlanta last year. Jamar Chase goes to New Orleans last year. He's not putting up the same numbers. I mean,
no, not at all.
Situation matters.
The situation
absolutely.
Absolutely.
I think if you are a wide receiver, you do not want to go to Seattle this year. If you're a wide receiver, you do not want to go to Houston this year. These are Carolina, unless they make that move for Baker, and even then, honestly, I'm a little worried just because of last year. You really get to see Baker's skill set on display that much because
Odell Beckham Jr. for half a season, and everybody thought Odell was washed, and then he went to LA and obviously not washed. So I don't know that
perfect example where situation matters, right?
Situation matters.
Situation, coaching, game plan, all of the above. See, everybody always tries to bring someone in and then say, hey, this is what I'm coaching you. This is what I'm going to do. I hope maybe I'd be a failure, but if I was a coach, I'd say, I want to see all of your strengths. We can work on the stuff that, you don't have, but give me all your strengths. And that's what we're going to build around. The playbook's going to build around that. And this wide receiver about this wide receiver about this wide receiver. And then your running backs will be like, okay, you're a good blocker. You'll block. Fine. You're a great third down back. Fine. A good catch passing back. Fine. You build around your player. You say, hey, this is how we run the team, and you're going to do it? No. Your talent is brought to you on this plate, and you're going to change up everything because you think that's the way it's supposed to go. Play to their talents, and then practice the other stuff later and surprise them in the late in the season. Like, oh, well, he didn't show that all season. That's what I think they should do. Don't try to change too much of people's skill sets. Like grow them, but don't make them work way outside the comfort zone.
Sure. I just want to welcome everybody who's watching. If you are watching, send us your questions. You type them in the little comment section there if you're on Facebook, or make a comment on YouTube. We do see them, so type them in. We'll see them. We'll read them. Or you can just follow the link and hop on the show like Dakota Nix here from the Great Union of Sports on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, follow this page. It's a public page. He definitely has it very well posted that you can put anything you want as long as you're not putting anybody else down. Very fun page, and they cover all sports. Dakota,
everything.
you have what I guess what got you started with this page, but I'm actually even more interested in why did you want it to cover all sports instead of like picking a niche, and part two of that question being make it public, where instead of like filtering the people that can say something on your page.
So it's funny. The reason I originally made the page back in, I think we made it in like 2018. Everything I do on the page, I used to do to my timeline. So I was
Okay.
obviously
One of
driving
those
people
guys.
absolutely insane, posting about sports 5 to 10 times a day. So I thought to myself, not everybody wants to see this. Maybe my great aunt doesn't care that the Lakers are an absolute dumpster fire right now. So I'm going to make a page to where I can go and invite people, and if they accept to be in the group, then they are consenting to me destroying their timeline with sports stuff. It's kind of the way.
He doesn't just have a great name, Dakota Nix, but if you head over to the Great Union of Sports, you get a lot of everything. It isn't just football or baseball or basketball. You get a lot of everything, which I love because I can't watch ESPN while I'm over at work or out and about or something else, and I can just scroll and say, "Oh, that just happened." Oh, look, Dakota posted something else. I'm like, man, look at that. That's funny, or something. Anything that's sports related, and I really do enjoy it. I followed it right away, and I have not been disappointed from day one.
Because my main thing is, like, I started out, I've been a giant Laker fan forever, since I was like 8 years old. So I started out with basketball. I was pretty much all basketball all the time. Started watching football, picked up football, started watching baseball. So, I mean, I just as I've gotten older, I've kind of learned to appreciate more and more sports. I talk golf every now and then, T. Golf is the one that's still hard for me to watch. I do like to, I keyed into the Masters when Tiger was playing just because I wanted to see how he looked. I still don't watch a whole lot of tennis. I'm not going to lie. I have become a pretty big hockey fan now that I've
There you go. Now you're talking.
I started watching hockey, so I picked up the LA team. Kings are going to the Stanley Cup playoffs, so we'll see how they do. It's with hockey, I always thought it was cool, but I didn't understand it. Dudes on ice skating and hitting each other, yeah, that's cool as shit, but I don't know what's going on. So now that I understand it, it's way better. So, I mean, that's kind of why I wanted it to be all sports, is because I've learned how to appreciate all sports. And, how, especially during the Olympics and stuff, we do a lot of Olympic coverage. We're all about curling in the Great Union.
Sure. Love curling. No, it's a fantastic sport to watch. If you don't watch it, look, if you're watching the Olympics, you don't watch curling, you're not watching the Olympics. You got to watch curling. It's fantastic.
Oh, man, you got
Andrew, I do see your comment there, Andrew. When we get back to football, I'm definitely going to touch on that because I love that you're bringing up the Devo drama. Dakota, first of all, I'm glad you got into hockey because now you know what an amazing sport it is. Don't feel bad. It is something. I think with hockey is you really need to go to a game. If you go to a game, you will be a hockey fan for life. And because even as a hockey fan, it is hard. It's hard to watch a regular season game on TV. Now the playoffs, completely different. I can watch hockey playoffs. I could watch reruns of hockey playoffs. I love the hockey playoffs. There's nothing like it. But hockey is a hard sport to watch until you give it a chance. And I think, again, if you go to a game, and it doesn't have to be a pro game, you can go to the minor league games. They're easily just as fun, but you'll become a fan. But I think what you bring up is the openness to embrace other sports. And I think that's something that comes through on your page. You do let other people post stuff, but you always kind of, when somebody posts something, you always respond to it, which I always appreciate as well. Even if you just react to it, you may not leave a comment, but you acknowledge the fact that somebody took the time to post there. And I think that's actually really cool as well. And it just shows, as you said, your open-mindedness and your willingness to embrace all sports, even if it's something you weren't initially behind, and now you've discovered that all sports have something to them, even if it's not your thing.
It's funny you mentioned going to a live hockey game because my sister is the exact opposite of me. And it's probably a byfactor growing up with me. She does not give a shit about sports. So she lived in Denver for a little while. She went to a Broncos game, a Nuggets game, a Rockies game, and an Avalanche game.
There you
She said
go.
the Avalanche was by far her favorite.
There you go.
So when
Yeah,
she
it was,
said-
especially when we played the Red Wings.
when she said that, I was like, okay, I got to check out hockey.
Sure. That's,
So
I
that's
mean,
how I
you
got
have
into hockey. I can thank my sister who doesn't love sports at all.
like I said, if you go to a game, you'll be a hockey fan for life. Andrew brings up the Debo stuff again. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Go ahead and throw your questions up, throw your comments. Just follow the link and join us in the room. Dakota did. Andrew brings up the Debo situation. Again, we're talking everything tonight. We're not just covering the draft, ESPN, NFL. They got plenty of people covering the draft. We're definitely going to talk about it, but we're not trying to break it all down for you. We're just having a good time tonight. Andrew brings up the Debo situation. He says he's over it. Do you think someone had asked during the same question, do you think Mayfield is around at the end of the draft? Someone had also brought up, do you think Debo is a 49er at the end of the draft? I think he is. But do you think that Debo plays for the 49ers this year, or do they just, get rid of the headache, I guess?
Sidebar: can you believe how bad the Rams broke the NFC West?
It's so bad, and I was going to get into it, and I will get into it. But Andrew brought up Debo, so I'm going to get to Andrew's thing first. But we're definitely going to talk about that.
Debo might be a Jet by the end.
You think so?
Yeah.
Everything I've seen says they're the front runners, and the Jets.
They're definitely trying to make a deal for him. They're 100%. They've been trying though to make a deal for him. I apologize to everyone for talking during the national anthem. My TV's on mute, and the only reason I know that it's the national anthem is because I see people standing up. So my apologies for that. No disrespect. Yeah. Obviously, I'm a veteran, and I make my kids stand for the national anthem when it plays on TV in the house. Again, the same question is: you think Debo is going to end up at the Jets? Mike, what do you think?
I mean, it's one of those weird situations. Like, does he want to stay? Does he want to get out? Is the team going to give up enough for him? And I don't know. I'm watching Debo for a couple of years, and had him on my team, and then didn't, and then he was nothing, and then all of a sudden he's now this elite running back, wide receiver. I'm gonna go out on a limb, and maybe it's a one and done. I'm not buying it. Give me a couple years, give me a Devontae Adams couple years stretch and show me how you're that elite guy. I think someone's gonna overpay for him, like a contract year, and he did great, and then they get injured next year. So don't quote me on it. Don't want him to get injured. I want him to do great. Show me a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Look, again, for the people that are just joining, welcome to the show. We're just having a good time. It's draft night. It's a draft party. We're watching the draft. We're talking football. All questions are welcome. All comments are welcome. We'll get to them as soon as we can. Follow the link and be on the show, just like Dakota Nix from the Great Union of Sports is. Your face can be right next to ours and talking live. Or just type it in, and we'll get to it as fast as we can. We're trying to get everybody in. I agree. I think Debo plays for the Niners. I don't think they're going to give in. I don't think they're going to get rid of him. It'll be interesting to see if he's definitely, I think he stays a Niner. If he plays for the Niners, that could be a different question since players are apparently just allowed to sit now whenever the hell they want to. Shane, I'm sorry, Mike, I laughed when you were talking there because Shane says the OU fishing team is all about that bass and bass.
No, it was okay because I read that a few minutes ago and absolutely loved it. And I was like, yeah,
that was on time, Shane. Thank you for that.
One of my pals from the casino. What's up,
nice.
Shane? How's it going?
Oh,
good.
Nice.
Welcome, Shane. Welcome to the show. Hope you'll stay with us tonight.
They're all about the bass. We don't know. I don't know. We got to discuss this. I mean, we're talking about the hard-hitting stuff tonight. We don't even know how long he's going to be here with us. We just know that his time is limited. But I think that the fishing team is going to be great this year. I would love to name the first several contestants, but I don't know them. It's not on my list over here. So we'll work on it.
I'm not gonna lie. I would be like super impressed if you could name like one person
Like
from
one
the OU
person,
fishing
yeah.
team. I'm sure you could Google it, but like if you just knew it,
Shane's throwing me under the bus. I appreciate that. Don't know him, and get him on.
I would honestly be a
bring him
little
on the show.
impressed
Let's go.
if anybody could name someone from their college fishing team. So if you're watching, and you can do it without Googling it, and I can't prove that you lied if you did. If you know someone from your college fishing team, go ahead and throw that out there. We'll give you a gold star or something.
Man, I follow a lot of OU sports. I don't think I know any of you guys on the fishing team.
There may not even be one. It may have just been a great joke. It was a great joke either way. I don't, I mean, I guess that's the thing is do they actually have a fish? They probably do. It's college.
It's a notorious troll / fisherman.
We don't need,
Hell of an angler.
are the fishermen allowed to enroll in home ec and have cheerleaders do their homework? I'm not sure. I don't know. Do they rank that high or do they actually have to pass on their own? Next time on Yards After the Catch.
8 minutes till someone's on the clock.
8.5 minutes till the Jags are on the clock. We know they're going defensive end. We just don't know which one. So we got roughly 10 minutes to decide. If you're watching the show, let us know who you think. Is it going to be Hutchinson like originally expected, or has the NFL convinced you that Walker is going to be the number one? I don't think either one is the wrong answer, but I guess we don't know anymore. And so you just got to decide if it's a smokescreen or if a change in choice has actually been made. So
again, and the Lions have not adjusted on the first pick. So
no, you don't see a lot of action. I guess the thing is with the draft in recent memory, as you're watching it, and you'll hear the commentators trying to create some drama, and you might expect a trade here, and you might see something, then it never happens. You really don't see a lot until probably like mid draft, maybe bottom third of the draft, and then you'll start seeing some trades and stuff pop up. And at that point, I don't know. It seems like a lot of those trades have already been orchestrated behind the scenes, in the fact that when they make the trade, it's because they already know, the team that traded already knows they're going to get the player they want, so they may as well make a trade and get something else in return. But what is going to be, as we get closer, every year, the opinion is that a team reaches for something, they get something they don't need. They grab somebody who maybe wasn't rated that high. Do you guys have in your heads any spoilers or something that you're? It's not definitely going to happen, but like this could happen. And what I mean by that is maybe Carolina takes Malik Wilson with the 6th pick. I don't think that's going to happen, but these types of situations.
It could.
Oh, I was looking over the draft board. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, I mean that's what I expected you to do. Houston's got the 3rd pick. Houston's got the 13th pick.
The thing I'm most curious about to see is if either of the New York teams come off of any of their picks.
It's going to be interesting, right? Because obviously one of the big things in news today is that the Giants don't take that 5th-year option on Jones. They could franchise him again if he plays well. They could just slap the franchise tag on him, or they could move on from him. We know one thing about the Giants, and that's they're going to screw up this draft pick. But how are they going to screw it up? Are they looking to get a quarterback? Probably not with the 5th pick, but are the Giants going to grab a quarterback this year in anticipation of separating from Jones, or what do you read into this?
I mean, the question there is, are there any quarterbacks in this draft better than Daniel Jones is right now?
I mean, I would think no, obviously. But I guess the thing is do they see something in this draft that they think might be better than Daniel Jones?
it's so weird. You know, it's so rare that we have a quarterback class that is just absolutely just not impressive.
Not up to par. I saw one of the things I was looking at. And they ranked the players by tiers, and they had nobody in tier 1. Tier 2 was Malik.
They have a tier 1.
Yeah, they didn't have tier 2. Tier 1 was 0. It was no one. Tier 2 was Malik, and then the other ones fell into tier 3.
You know, it's like I watch the draft, and every now and then I'm like, oh, it'd be cool if that guy was a Ram. There's no guys quarterback-wise in this draft, you know. But, I mean, we have Stafford now, so we don't need a quarterback. But in prior years, you know, it'd be cool if that guy was a Ram. But, you know, this year I'm like, none of these guys I would be nuts about. None of them.
Yeah.
And I hope
so is it fair to say that if anybody takes, and it's going to happen, but if anybody takes a quarterback in the first round, especially outside of Malik Willis, and maybe I'll put Pickett in there for fun, but outside of those two guys, any other quarterbacks that get drafted is obviously would default to a big shocker then, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I think they're the only two that are like worthwhile in the draft. They're the only two, like I said, the only three that I can name were Willis and Pickett and Corral. That's the only three I can think of.
Yeah, I think if anything, maybe two of them, you know, Pickett and Willis, but I think that'll be the furthest they'll go for round 1. I don't see them passing up other talent for a backup quarterback in the first round, even though you do get your 5th round option, even though, you know, others aren't getting the use out of it. But I think after those two, I don't think it's going to happen the first round.
I just got to pull my wife's thing down here. I can't do it. Eric says hi. Eric Vincent says hi to you, Dakota, if you can't see that.
Hold the chat up. What's going on, Eric? Glad you joined us.
Welcome, Eric. Glad you could join us. Hope you stick around. Dakota's got a kickball game in a little bit. So, we're just having a party. We're talking about whatever tonight. What's that?
I told them y'all stay and hang out with these guys. They know what they're doing. They're great.
We'd love to have you stick around. As we get a couple minutes from the draft, one of the big reasons we wanted you to be the first one on, Dakota, is we'd asked you earlier in the year. We've got kind of some big things going on. We talked about a big announcement on the show tonight, and we asked if you want to be a part of it. We didn't tell you what it was. We just asked if you want to be a part of it, and you were like, "Hell yeah, I'm in." We're going to go ahead and do that now before the draft starts, and we'll talk about it again as more people come in. But everybody's here. You guys will get to hear it first. Basically, it's like this. Look, I started a fantasy football company, a fantasy sports company. It's called Armchair Athletics. We're on Facebook. You can find us. Look for our website and stuff like that as it builds. And we've got a lot of fantasy support services, draft hosting, commissioner services. We're going to run a lot of contests and a lot of prizes. But the big project that we're really proud about right now, or kind of our flagship deal right now, is we are going to do something that literally no one has ever done in the history of fantasy sports. And it's kind of surprising just because you see so much with it. But we are hosting the first ever fantasy football gauntlet contest reality series. We're having a reality show. It's going to be fantasy football based, and we hope to extend it to the other sports as it catches on. So keep an eye out for the promos. Keep an eye out for ways that you can help get this off the ground. We've teamed up with Armchair Athletics. We've teamed up with Genesis Sports. We're teaming up with a lot of other pages, guys like Dakota, to make this happen. And we're going to bring you guys the first ever reality fantasy football show that's ever been. It's just never been done. There's been a couple attempts from a podcast format. which were fantastic. They, for whatever reason, they weren't able to finish. But we're going to actually do the actual show. We're going to do the damn thing. It's going to air on YouTube right now. Maybe we'll get it picked up by a network before then. Basically, it runs down like this. We're going to have 12 teams. They're all going to compete against each other. They're all going to play each other in the first 11 weeks. Starting in week 12 is gauntlet style, 2 teams every week going home until the championship game. And of course, there's going to be lots of twists and turns in there. We're throwing in what we're calling game breaker rules every week, and we're just gonna it's going to be intense for the people that play. This is not going to be a run your draft and plug in your guys every week, pick up a couple players and see who's there at the end. This is going to be something these guys are going to have to work for. These girls and brothers and sisters and couples that get in on this league, they're going to have to be real players, and they're going to have to put up with the stress of us throwing things at them that really no one's ever seen before. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be some money at the end. If you watch, if you're a fan, you're definitely going to influence the show. There's going to be a voting portion where you can definitely help your favorite players along and win some things along the way. So we hope you'll keep an eye out. You'll support us. This league isn't going to be won on draft day. It's not going to be won on the waiver wire. It's going to be done the same way football is, down where the work happens. It's going to be done in the trenches, and that's why we called it the trenches. We're very excited about it. We hope you guys will get excited about it too. Obviously, I have a lot of passion about this, and I'm excited about it. Mike, say what you want to say.
It's in the battle. The battle's in the trenches. Okay, you have way more to do. You're going to be on camera. You're going to be part of the show. This isn't I'm just going to put a tight end this week. No, you're going. This is a challenge. You're going to win prizes after this. There's going to be cash prizes. There's going to be changes every week where you're going to be like, yes, I won. Did I? You have to tune in to see the shows. I'm telling you right now, it's not just your average little league and show. No, this show is going to knock your socks off. It's going to take some work. It's going to take some work on our side as well. We can't be a part of it because why? You guys are going to be the champions. You're going to be battling now. It doesn't matter if you and your brother go in on it, or you and your girlfriend or wife or spouse, or just you and your kid. It doesn't. We want everybody. This is a family thing. We're going to bring everybody in, make some funny skits, see you guys, see the reactions of what happens on Sundays. And you're like, yes, I won. Oh, no, you didn't. Yeah, that defense got you with those last 2 points, and you just biting your nails like, please don't let his tight end do anything on Monday night. Please. That's what we're going to see. And to top it all off, after the shows, we're going to go on live, and you're going to see us. We're going to talk it over and see what happens, because there's going to be some stuff that's going to be pretty exciting. Did I mention there's going to be some cash prizes?
There's going to be a little bit of cash. There's going to be a little money at the end, but these guys are definitely going to have to earn it. These guys and gals and teams and whoever. So keep an eye out. Again, if you think you got the stuff to play, there's definitely going to be open auditions. We're definitely going to be screening teams and bringing people in. Mr. Nix here is going to be on our rules committee, headed up by Mr. Roop, we're going to keep this thing fair, but it's going to be fun, and it's not going to be an easy day. This is going to be the most grueling fantasy game that anyone has ever played, and we're going to make it fun for all you guys. And even if you're not on the show, you can be a part of it. You will influence the outcome. So keep an eye out. Join us when you see opportunities to help out. We definitely appreciate that. Mr. Nix has definitely already picked up the torch for us by agreeing to join us on that show and make that happen. But also coming on this show and talking a bit of draft and a bit of football. We know you got a busy day. We know you got a kickball game to go to and a Super Bowl championship that you're still gloating about. On your way out, I just want to say, first of all, thank you, and get your thoughts on, honestly, I have no skin in the fight when it comes to the Rams, but I'll tell you what, that little movie trailer thing that they did about, stealing the draft, which, they got they're not stealing anything, but the trailer they did, the time and the effort. Again, you win one Super Bowl and it goes to your head, but you put out a damn good product over there, and that's something Rams fans should be proud of.
Win one Super Bowl, you don't know how to act.
Yeah, something like that. If you haven't seen it, go to the Great Union of Sports. Even if you have seen it, go to the Great Union of Sports on Facebook. I promise you won't be sorry. It's all sports, all the time. Anyone can post. It's open to everyone, and it's because sports are great, just like this man right here, Mr. Dakota Nix. Thank you so much for coming on the show and supporting us every week.
Absolutely, man. And the Rams might surprise y'all. They actually might do it.
You brought it up, and I know you want to talk about it, so I'm going to let you talk about it real quick because the draft has not yet started. You talked about the Rams stealing you said the NFC. I don't know if they can steal the whole league. They've still got to, follow through with it. How did you feel about? Obviously, you're happy to have Robinson, but how do you feel about not having OBJ? Would you have liked to have kept him around, or did he serve his purpose and wish him the best?
He might come back still. There's a chance.
Yeah.
Always. So you're saying there's a chance? Yeah.
I'm saying there's a chance.
1 in a million.
I think a lot of teams are trying to see how this draft shakes out, and then maybe OBJ signed in a week.
I agree.
Hopefully he's an LA Ram. I think you put out a wide receiver core every week that's Kupp, A-Rob, and OBJ. You can't defend that. That's the best wide receiver core in the league. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, I would kind of agree with that, even though
It's hard to argue, right, at this point.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, what I am kind of looking forward to, I'm a day one spectator because as I'll censor it down to what our general manager said at the celebration. I'll censor it down to forget them picks. I'm a day one spectator, but day 2 and 3, Les Snead has done some damage. I was looking over some of our previous drafts. 2021 picked up Ernest Jones, played a lot of meaningful minutes in the Super Bowl alongside Von Miller. He was a 3rd round pick. 2020, that's where we got Cam Akers and Van Jefferson, 2 great offensive weapons in the 2nd round. 2019, Taylor Rapp in the 2nd round, starting safety. Darrell Henderson, backup running back, 2019, 3rd round. Greg Gaines played alongside Aaron Donald, 4th round pick. Ogbo Okoronkwo, Boomer Sooner, 5th round pick, just picked up a bunch of money from Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Sebastian Joseph Bay back in 2018 was a 6th round pick, just picked up a bunch of money from the Chargers. So, I mean, and who could forget Cooper Kupp in the 3rd round in 2017?
Nobody saw that coming. Look, the draft is starting. The pick is coming in. As we say goodbye to you, is it going to be Hutch or is it going to be Walker? What do you think?
I'm going with the odds-on favorite, Trayvon Walker out of Georgia.
There we go. Dakota, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for the support. We'll definitely have you back on. And again, go check out Dakota Nix, the Great Union of Sports. It's a fantastic page. One of my favorites on Facebook. All sports all the time from all-time great right there. Have fun at your kickball game. I hope you score 5 home runs and stuff.
Yes, sir. It's a blast as always, fellas. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, bud. Appreciate it. And there he goes, Mr. Dakota Nix. But we're not done. We got plenty more show for you, so don't take off. We've got Mr. Bryce Dial sitting in the wings. He is in the lobby. He's waiting on this first pick. He wanted to wait and see what it was going to come down to. And before we get going, the pick is, on tap right now. Jacksonville on the clock, and it's going to be great to see. But again, we're just having a party. Go ahead and we'll talk about anything football. We'll talk about anything you guys want to talk about. Draft, free agency. We've covered a lot of topics tonight. We'll cover them again. We'll get different opinions and just type something in. We can see you, but follow that link. Come on in, and we'll have you on the show. Ice Cube pumping up the draft down there. Love to see it. And the first pick on its way in a little bit. Derek Carr up there. Derek Carr,
No.
Derek Carr, not a Hall of Famer. I don't think that's ever really going to be a question. But I guess with the weapons he's getting, assuming they don't lose Walker, is he good enough to put a ring on people's fingers next year?
When you get something like Devontae Adams on your team, you don't need to just make the playoffs. You need to make the Super Bowl, and he needs to get at least. I mean, you say he's not a Hall of Famer. He wins back-to-back Super Bowls.
Well, sure, yeah, I hear you.
There's an
It worked for
argument there. So I don't know if he's going to be that elite, but I'll tell you right now, he's a sleeper in any fantasy football league because he has that type of wide receiver core, and with his tight end, wide receiver, running back. I mean, he's got it all. It's a really good team. They made the playoffs. They can go further this year. So if he doesn't bring it together now, I don't know what to tell you. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's time to move on if you can't do something really spectacular the next 2 years.
Yeah. And I guess that's kind of the thing. I think that, so you're right. I mean, I maybe it is unfair to say that he's not a Hall of Famer, but he certainly hasn't earned it yet. This could be the time that kind of defines him, right? Because he's got the talent now. And if he can't win, if he can't, at least make a deep run in the playoffs with this talent, you have to kind of wonder if he's going to be a Raider next year, right?
I know that the organization likes him, and he's not terrible. Let's put it that way. He's not terrible. Like, he's still better than anybody that's getting drafted tonight.
Sure.
Or this weekend. So
no, he's probably top 15. I'm not, that's off the top of my head. I don't think he's right there in the top 10, probably. Maybe just off the cuff, maybe 12, something like that. Again, that's off the top of my head, but he's in the conversation. He's definitely in the upper half of the league, right? He's definitely someone you want to pay money to because you don't want to try and replace him with someone who's less.
Yeah, I mean, if you found somebody who slipped into the 6th round and you're like, well, I'm not sure who to take, let's get a quarterback to develop and throw it out there, that's fine. But I mean, Derek Carr is still going to be he's a good quarterback. So I'm not going to put him on the pedestal of some of the elites, but he should be top 10 this year. He should be top 10 due to the talent that's around him. And if everybody's healthy and he's not top 10, it's time to move on. Like, he knows what he has around him now. There's no excuse whatsoever. None.
I love how the top team every year does this. They already know who they're playing. They already know who they're going to pick. Yeah, they're going to run this clock down all the way down, so that the NFL can show these highlight packages that we've already seen quite a few times. But whatever, it's drama, and that's the point. Would you draft Carr?
Draft him, no. Trade for him.
On your fantasy team. I'm talking fantasy team now.
No. I mean, if I was a 2-quarterback league and he's sitting there late rounds, absolutely. But
so two quarterback league going late pick, you would take him.
I would take him, but
you kind of have to, right? Because now he has weapons, right? So I mean, when you talk about his receiving core, especially if you can get a handcuff type thing going on, right? Like
Listen, when it comes to Carr, I get it, but he has Devontae Adams. Nobody really.
If you take Devontae Adams in the first round, you kind of got to be targeting Carr in probably like the 4th or 5th round if you're really going to even be bold enough to wait that long.
No. 8 to 10 for Carr.
Still 8 to 10. I mean,
I'm not.
You have to. So you have to expect Carr's numbers to go up, right? I mean, you have to.
You should. But if you get Devontae Adams, I know they were quarterback, wide receiver, at the same college. They, you could have, that Burrow, bang on firepower. Maybe. Could it be there? Like, in my mind, I want it to work out so badly that that's what happens, and you get that great stack. But I don't know if it's going to happen. And
Okay, so here's the thing. So is it a rookie move or a reach or whatever you want to call it to seek Carr because of Devontae Adams, or do you reason it that Devontae Adams is really good, but he's no Aaron Rodgers, so maybe Devontae Adams isn't as special as he's going to be or has been in the past? Does Devontae Adams? So the question, I guess, is does Carr's stock go up or does Devontae Adams' stock go down?
I think Devontae Adams stock goes down a little bit and Carr goes up a little bit. I wouldn't put it on the level of Burrow and Chase, but I could see it happening, and I want them to prove me wrong. I want it to happen. I know a lot of people are hater Raider, but a lot of Raiders fans, the Raiders fans are feeling real good right now, and they have every reason to be. So I say bring it. I hope they dominate the league and prove me wrong, but I just
all right. Well, here we go. The pick is in. So last chance. Are you going Walker or Hutch?
Neither.
What?
I'm telling you, got to protect you. Got to protect that quarterback. Go offensive line. I know. Throw the whole thing off. I mean, you're gonna be.
Wow, that would be cool. It would be cool to see. I'm going Hutch. I'm sticking with Hutch before the pick comes in. I think he's been the number one. You could make the argument that somebody on the inside knows something, and that's why you hear this talk about Walker going first. But I really think it's just a NFL smokescreen. You got a couple minutes. Rob, what do you think? T, all you guys out there, what do you guys think? Is it going to be Hutch? Is it going to be Walker? Is it going to be someone else?
Walker. I'm going to go with Walker.
I'm going Hutch.
Because Hutch, I feel like I'm going to lean towards, I want to go to Detroit type thing. And Walker's a beast. So, and
I think the Jaguars are a good spot to go right now. Again, they're going to be a really young team, 12 picks this year, 2 first-round picks last year. I think they're really starting to stack up. They've acquired Kurt. They definitely need a number one receiver, but we know Kurt is a fantastic support guy. He's definitely that slot guy that you want in there. He's a go-getter. So we're going to find out. Is it Hutch? Is it Walker? Is it someone else? And then we're going to bring in Bryce Dial from. He's chomping at the bit. He wants in. I see him on the screen. He's like, "Let me in, let me in."
Yeah.
You said to wait. You said to wait. Bryce Dial from the Sideline Scout coming in just a minute after we get this pick. Here we go.
And Rob Toothman says he's going to pick up Carr for sure next season.
Trayvon Walker. There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, chomping at the bit, as I said, from the Sideline Scout, Mr. Bryce Dial. Bryce, welcome. Welcome to the show. Glad you could join us. You've seen the pick. Is this a surprise to you?
Well, it was funny. We talked a few days ago, and I was like, I wanted to wait because I think it's going to be a shock. And then just how fast the tide turns. Trayvon Walker's not even a shock anymore, but that's who I thought was going first overall. You got to bet on upside. That's what Balky's always been about. So not really surprised. I think it was a good pick.
I think it's a good pick. We kind of talk. I don't know if you've been watching up until now, but we definitely talked about it. There was really no wrong pick, whether you pick Walker or Hutchins. I mean, it was kind of a no-brainer. And Mike Roop, sitting, I guess, underneath me now, had said maybe they go offensive with one of those guys, Neil, or I always say his name wrong.
Ike Ekwonu.
Thank you. If they had picked one of them, it would have been a good pick as well to protect Lawrence. They've got enough picks in this draft. They can probably get somebody. I think this is the right pick for them, whether it had gone Hutchinson or Walker. But Walker he's outstanding.
He's a freak.
Oh my God. First of all, welcome to the show. Glad that you can join us. I love your page. I love all the breakdowns you did, the different positions and everything. We're definitely going to get in on that. I told you we're going to talk about your final mock, your final list and stuff there. and of course we'll be watching to see how it pans out. I love your page. With this pick, with the Lions coming up, the Lions are assuredly taking Hutchinson.
That's my guess. And it's in. Picked in.
I think that's got to be it. Hutchinson is a good player. I just don't think he has a ceiling of Walker. That's the only reason why Jacksonville went with him. He's definitely a good player. He's from Michigan, born and raised in Michigan, of course, went to Michigan. So that pick makes sense to me. But I've also been hearing they say they might surprise some people here. We could see Ahmad Garner or maybe Malik Willis.
No,
I would be really surprised to see Malik go that fast, especially when they did spend so much on Goff. I feel like that's really who they're counting on to do it. But I mean, like you said, stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
You never know.
He's going.
Somebody's going to do something like that.
I think it's Hutch. I do think it's Hutch.
I do, 100%.
That's a no-brainer. But like you said, anything can happen. From one thing I said in my post today, from 1 to 32, nobody knows what's going to happen for any of those picks. Nobody knows.
Mel might know. I don't know.
But I appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely. Again, if you're watching, first of all, you can comment, you can follow the link and come on just like Bryce did. Love to have you guys on. If check out the Sideline Scout, because I tell you what, Bryce, he does his homework and he has a fantastic page out there. Fantastic product.
I already started following it today. I got to do my homework because whatever happened this offseason, I got to win a fantasy league somewhere. And, if Bryce is going to help me do it, I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't get all your news from one spot. You got to spread it out because everybody's got a different idea. Somebody knows something that somebody else doesn't. So you got to check it out.
Now we're all listening. Mel Kiper, Jimmy Clausen would be all pro right now. So
that's right. That's right. Look, Mel's fantastic, but I mean, nobody's right all the time. Nobody's right all the time.
No.
There's Hutch looking all dapper and stuff. Yeah, Hutch looks pretty good for a Michigan guy. I'm kind of glad he didn't go first, obviously, because I didn't want to see that Michigan jersey up there at number 1. But I think that's a good pick for him. Again, in Detroit. Detroit's trying to rebuild. They're trying to put something together. We'll see if they can actually do it because they've been trying to do that for decades. But, this kid's definitely got the talent. I don't want to break it down too much because I don't want to let the experts do that. But, I mean, it is draft night, so we got to talk about it, right? How are you feeling about Hutchinson?
The only thing that concerns me is his arm length. That's a really underrated facet people really don't talk about.
It's a big deal when you're trying to. I mean, you see him all the time. Just guys throw up a desperation arm and it knocks a pass down, right?
Or even just your stab move into the tackle. To play NFL tackle, most coaches don't want an NFL tackle with under 33-inch arms, at least 33. Hutch has got 32-inch arms, so he's already sort of at a disadvantage.
He's very tall, but his arms don't fit the body, I guess, right?
To compare the two, he's 6'6" with a 6'6" wingspan. Trayvon Walker's 6'5" with a 7-foot wingspan. So that's the difference there.
That changes things. Yeah, that explains why Walker went before.
Yeah, 35-inch arms. He's freakish.
Again, and Trayvon Walker with that 4.5 speed is just
4.5 speed. And then he had a 1.5-10 split, which just kind of shows your explosion. That's like cornerback type 10 split, and he did it at 272 pounds. He really blew me away at the combine.
You guys are quickly learning why you guys need to follow Bryce over there at the Scout. What got you, while we have a couple minutes, and I'll probably end up interrupting you, so I apologize in advance as Houston picks come in. Well, let's do this first because the clock is running on Houston. I think they already know who they're going to take. You have a cornerback going to Houston. Obviously, the consensus, the bigger consensus is Ekwonu, which I think also fits.
Yeah, it does.
But you had put a shocker in there, if you will, an early shocker that Houston goes with Stingley, who's fantastic. But why? Why did you make that pick? Is it just because Houston doesn't have a quarterback to protect right now, or why put that in?
Well, it was kind of like I said, this draft's so unpredictable. I kind of went off what I was hearing. So I was hearing Stingley was kind of where they wanted to go. He was the betting favorite. I think he was like plus 150 to go third overall. And like you said, they don't have any cornerbacks. I mean, at offensive line, they still got Titus Howard, who they drafted, 2 years ago. He's still out there and plays tackle.
And you definitely you put that in your post on your thing that you actually put, and this is your quote. Stingley is almost a lock for the Texans at 3. So you're going against Kiper. You're going against the man. I think you're going against McShay. You're going against everybody here with this pick, which I love that you're doing this because, again, like you said, this is what you've been hearing. This is the work that you've been doing, and just the fact that you're doing this work is awesome. But
yeah, I mean, I got about 2 hours of sleep last night.
That's awesome.
Just scrounging through Twitter, and it's Twitter. You take it all with a grain of salt. But if I'm hearing, if I read 5 or 6 times, hey, I got a source saying Stingley is going to be the guy for Houston. I gotta put some kind of stock into that.
Sure.
There's smoke, there's fire.
Rube, what are you thinking?
Well, I'll read the NFL, and Ike Ekwonu, like when you put him in there, you're thinking, okay, Houston traded away their quarterback. They're going to get some quarterback safety net, and then I think they're going to go quarterback next year. I think they're prepping their team for future because right now there's so many stacked teams. It's ridiculous. So I think they're just setting all the pieces in front, and then they're going to get a quarterback probably next year or the year after that.
Well, we're about to find out. I am also I'm going a little contrarian, I guess, and thinking it's going to be Ekwonu, but I like the fact that what you're saying, Bryce. I like that you have been up and listening and actually I kind of hope you're right. I kind of hope you're right.
He did all his homework, and I'm sure he is right. That's the thing.
I kind of hope he's right because I want him to be able to say, "Look, I'm the guy, right? Like I'm the one that."
Like okay, we're putting our hands up if he's the guy. When you see it, let me know.
There you look. There you go, guys.
I think
ladies and gentlemen, you need to follow Bryce Dial. You need to get over to the Sideline Scout because the guy does his homework.
It's good.
He went against Kiper. He went against McShay, and he came out on top. I love this right now. This to me, this is what it's all about. This is why I started Armchair Athletics. For the players, for the guys that do the work. This is why we are running this reality show. This is why we're doing the first ever fantasy football based reality show because of stuff like this, because there are people out there that do the work. And that's why we called it the trenches, because that's who's going to win this show. And it's guys like Bryce who are out there, got 2 hours of sleep last night and made the prediction that a lot of people wouldn't have made. Congratulations, Bryce! Like this. I hope this is a big moment for you, as it is like obviously for me. And this is our first time meeting. Like I'm just ecstatic for you right now.
I got a text for 1 second before you announced it, and one of my buddies, they're like, "Man, you nailed it on that." My heart was beating out my chest. I wanted to be right.
Man, that's
He's like, "You nailed it."
That's amazing.
And,
I can't wait. I know after we drop, if not. While we're talking here, I hope you're just boasting that. I'm going to put it up on our page for sure. That's just amazing work, Bryce. Congratulations.
Bryce,
I appreciate that.
I have a lot of fantasy leagues that I play in. There's probably going to be more this year. So if you could just be available for all of them, so I can
start taking orders now. I'm going to have to sign you up. We're going to have to talk tomorrow after the draft and see if I can't get you on my staff as one of the advisors. That was fantastic.
As long as we split the winnings.
Yeah, there we go.
100%. 100%. We can keep the conversation going right now. You've got Jermaine Johnson at number 4. Again, your homework, all the work that you did last night, you definitely got him in the top 10. You said he's linked to the Jets at 4. Obviously, I think if they could get if they could make that trade for Deebo Samuel, I think that could mess up this pick. But we haven't heard anything. We have no reason to think that that's going to happen. So tell us again. I'm interested in why you picked this. Why you went against the grain and threw this out.
The first 3, I definitely wasn't really. The first 3 was most confident in. 4 is where it gets kind of shaky. I'm not as high on Jermaine Johnson, but I kept hearing he's a lock for a top 10 pick, and the Jets were really high on him. If it's me, I'd go Thibodeau here, no question. But it is the Jets, so I see him going. He's a top 10 lock. If he doesn't go here, he goes to the Giants at 7. He's for sure going to the top 10. But
you can always say that like it's the Jets, right? Because no matter what happens, no matter what the Jets do, that's always you can add that to literally every action the Jets take. Anything that they do, but it's the Jets. Like you can throw that in there. How you feeling, Mike?
I want to so badly believe in the Jets. I want them to take, some of these great players and, the one with the most dapper suit or Sauce with his great chain and all these. All these elite players. Are you flipping a coin? Jets have a lot of picks in the draft, especially early on.
Yeah.
And I really hope they get some really good talent and they end up with a competitor, to bring, because how cool would it be, hoping, because all their elite quarterbacks they said they were drafting and they're falling a little short, but I think you could pull something out of this draft and become a real contender. We will see, but their pick is in. I hope it's my favorite thing about all these competitions and drafts and stuff is I hope it's anybody thought, because that's what gets everybody talking. I love that.
I can't remember if it was Sheila McNay, Shayer McNay, God dang, Kuiper or McShay. There you go. That has Neil going here. The other one has Sting going here, and or Sauce, excuse me, and you have Sting going here. So it's up in the air, right? That's the thing about this draft. Like you said, 1 through 32, no one knows what's going to happen, especially with this pick, because as you said, it's the Jets.
Yeah, I think Sauce makes the most sense the more I think about it with Robert Saleh's scheme. Those long press man corners, kind of like Richard Sherman, who kind of had a resurgence down there in San Francisco. So that could be the pick the more I think about it. But
so are you officially changing, or are you going to go ahead and stick with it?
Not officially changing it, but that makes more sense to me the more I think about it.
Good night, Mr. Warren. You want to say hi to everybody. So thanks for watching Yards After the Catch. Look out for the reality show. Go see Armchair Athletics and check out the trenches this fall. That's what he said. You said that, right?
You got to bring that family.
And then he said good night. And he said, good job, Bryce, on number 3.
Bring the family. It's all welcome here. We'll try to keep it clean, as the night goes on.
All right, the pick is in. Again, we don't want to stick out. We don't want to make everything too draft focused. We're all about all the football here, but obviously the draft is going on, so we're gonna see what these picks are. Bryce is. You're 100%, right? You're 3 for 3 right now.
3 for 3. I should have entered one of those contests.
Let's say you should have. I know they're out there. We're going to talk to Elite Fantasy Games after you, Bryce, and I know for a fact that they have a contest, a league going on for this right now. Now they're out there, and next time you can sign up.
Yeah. I think there was one on ESPN I was going to sign up for, but I just wasn't confident enough after, like I said, the top 3. I mean, like, it wouldn't have hurt, but I don't know. I just didn't get around to it.
Well, I wonder how many people got in the top 3. And there can't be a lot of people that put in the same work that you did. I mean, clearly Kuiper and McShay didn't even put in the same work you did. So
yeah, I posted it and I shared it to a group today, and the first comment was like, "No way Stingley goes over Sauce," and I was just what I'm hearing. I don't know.
I love how far behind you guys are.
There you go, right there.
Got it.
Rod Gardner. So threw everybody off. Do you think
Maybe
so? There's
hold that chain.
a lot of talk. There's been a lot of talk between Sauce and Sting. Which one's number one? Which number two? Did Gardner get overlooked? Is he actually a better choice, or is this the Jets being the Jets?
No, Gardner was my CB1. It's really splitting hairs. I think potential you got to give it to Stingley, but he does have more of a bust factor. Just there's concerns with his effort. I don't think that. I think they've been overblown.
Right? I mean, that's why he is so successful, because Stingley takes risks. It's just he happens to be a play on a team and in a division where it pays off, and he's got backup when it doesn't, etc. But we talked about Cincinnati all year on yards after the catch about how we didn't really think they were as good as people were making them out to be. Of course, you got the strength of schedule and things like that. But you said yourself that you had Gardner as CB1.
Gardner is the reason Kobe Bryant's going to get drafted, the other corner from Cincinnati, because nobody threw at Sauce all year, so attention got put on Kobe. And he did okay, but without Sauce on the other side, Kobe would not even be getting drafted. He's that much of an impact player, and he's smooth. I watched him in the combine. I mean, to be 6'3", his hips, everything are just so smooth and fluid. Not like, I mean, you look at a guy like Kyle Hamilton, no disrespect to him, still a great player, but he's 6'4", and he really can't change direction that well. Not Sauce.
So now that Gardner's gone, especially, does Sauce or Sting go first? I'm not saying that necessarily next pick, but out of those two, who's going to get first? And yes, there's a situational part there, but gut instinct.
Mod Sauce Gardner is a great pick for the Jets. I don't know who's going next.
5. Evan Neal, Charles Cross. Thinking Evan Neal. That's the Giants.
Yeah, offensive tackle. Okay.
So Stingley goes, Sauce goes. Who'd you say?
Evan Neal, I would say my pick here was. Well, no.
Well, you had Ekwonu.
Ekwonu's still on the board. What am I talking about? Yeah, it's Ekwonu.
Yeah, because a lot of people wanted to go third, and you went against the grain and went with it.
I mean, why not, right?
So let's talk about this. Okay, so I kind of agree that Ekwonu goes now, because if you don't take Ekwonu now, I don't think he's there.
No way he'll get past the Panthers.
But they've got 5 and 7. So the only people in between them is Carolina, and I don't know that Carolina necessarily takes Ekwonu either. But maybe they didn't plan on Ekwonu being there. So I guess what I'm saying is, if the Giants want Ekwonu, they have to take him now.
For sure.
So then Sauce is now gone. Do the Giants take? Do you flip those picks? Do the Giants take Johnson, or do they go for someone like Thibodeau?
At 5, I think 5, you got to go Ekwonu, because from what I read, Charles Cross wouldn't make it past 6. That's your kind of OT3. So I feel like if Ekwonu falls to 6, they'll snatch him up.
Sure.
So I think it's 7. You got to go Thibodeau or Johnson, one of the two. They got to go edge. You kind of hoping corner would be there, because it sounds like James Bradbury might be on his way out. You really don't have another number one corner there besides Adoree Jackson, he's all right.
It is interesting to see Stingley and Gardner go 3-4 like that. I didn't really see a lot of boards look like that. I didn't see them going back to back like that. Does that surprise you at all?
My first rough draft I did last night, I had 3-4 Stingley Sauce, and I changed it because I kept seeing Johnson's name being thrown around with 4. No, I mean, your most valuable position is cornerback. I mean, the quarterback, then edge, then corner to me. So you got to prioritize those 3 positions.
So the Giants are about. The Giants are about to. The pick is in. We're about to hear what the Giants do. But Roop, I'm going to come to you. They just put up the stat. The first time the first 4 picks were defensive players. The Giants pick is in. if they go defense. Obviously, we're going number 5. Before we started the show, we've put up posts. We talked about how this year's draft, at least at the beginning, isn't quite as sexy as other drafts have been because it's not offense first. We knew defense; it was going to be a defense heavy in the top 10. Does it take away from the draft for you?
It does, because I'm a fantasy player. I love that. I mean, nothing against defenses; they're fantastic. But you want to see that powerhouse offense. Nobody wants a 3-0 score at the end of a football game, although it would be elite and great. But I think seeing those offensive players is the excitement. I think this year's, like I said it months ago, and I'll say it today, it's going to be defensive heavy. I think Giants are going to surprise some people here and mess it up again. Like, I'm sorry to say it, like when they picked Danny Dimes, I think they're gonna reach, and they think they got it all figured out. And
I love Danny Dimes. I do think he went early, obviously, in the draft, but I like Danny Dimes. I love him on the ground. I love it when he tucks that ball and runs. Bryce, same question to you, especially as you're doing all this homework and you see how all these, especially in the top 10, is so defensive heavy. Does it bother you as a fan, as a fantasy player, or is it just not a big deal?
I play fantasy. I watch the game, but man, the scouting's the reason why I do it all. So this is Christmas. This is Christmas for me. You know.
With the way you nailed the third pick there, I absolutely understand why. That was amazing.
So,
I can't wait to talk about that.
And I played defense when I was in high school. I played defensive end and linebacker. So that's kind of where my expertise is at anyway.
Sure.
So I like.
I played defense in hockey, and I love the defense. I'm all about it. But here we go. The pick is in, guys. Super hyped, and we got Thibodeaux going. This is something. So Thibodeaux going is something that I kind of expected. I've kind of held it close to the chest. I probably should have said something because now I can't get credit for it because it's already been picked. But I really thought I've been really high on Thibodeaux from the beginning. Obviously, I got a very early look at him. First game of the season, we played Oregon. They beat us, and so. But I still remember that game. I still remember his performance. The guy is a fantastic player. So for me to see the Giants take Thibodeaux is not a big surprise. How are you feeling about it, Bryce?
No, Thibodeaux, I don't know if you see my big board. He's my number 1 overall player, my number 1 overall edge. I loved him. Thought he did drop a little bit. Team's kind of concerned about his character, and it's nothing bad. He's just a really confident guy. I don't know if you ever seen him.
I mean, when you're on defense, you kind of got to have it. You got to walk in with a swagger, right? I agree. It's how you handle it. But these are kids. These are kids, and they got to be groomed and whatnot. But you had Thibodeaux going 8. But you did have him. You had him as a second rusher because you had Johnson going to the Jets. So now that Carolina's on the clock, and Carolina is such a perplexing thing because we know they're going after we know they're trying to get Mayfield, so they trade this pick. If they're unable to pull off the trade, you have them taking Charles Cross, but again, that's because you had other players off your board at this point. Being that Ekwonu is still there, did Carolina just luck into Ekwonu, or what are they going to do here?
Yeah, I feel like that's the pick regardless. I was never really on board with them taking a quarterback. That offensive line is a mess. It is a mess.
100%. Yes.
And you got to get somebody in there, and Ekwonu's that guy. I mean, he was my second-rated offensive tackle behind Evan Neal just because Evan Neal's, a freak of nature. But Ekwonu's it's splitting hairs between them. They're both great. He gave up 0 sacks this year and 2 pressures, something ridiculous.
The guy is insane. What were you going to say, Mike? Go ahead.
Bryce, do you think Thibodeaux and his injury last year, is that going to – it obviously didn't affect his draft capital. Do you think it's going to hinder his career?
No, I don't think it. I look in every player's injury history. I think on my scouting report, he missed a few games, but it's not like it was something consistent. Like Derek Stingley's injury is one that concerned me. The Liz Frank. I wanted to see him work out before we did all that. But Thibodeau looks fine. I don't think it's a problem. I think that was a great pick for him.
I agree. So now that all this is here, so they're trying to pump up. They're showing Malik Willis right now for Carolina. Again, I don't think they make that pick. They're showing Kenny Pickett. Again, I don't think Carolina makes that quarterback pick. I think they take Aquano for sure.
Kind of hope they do because McCaffrey in some leagues and kind of hope he gets some protection. But I mean, is this where they trade? I mean, they're down to 2 minutes or so.
Well, we know they want to trade. They want to trade to get to Mayfield, but with 2:50 on the clock, I don't know if this trade is going to happen. Maybe they make it happen later. But what I was going to ask you, Bryce, is kind of get into it. And again, I'll probably interrupt you at some point with only 2:40 seconds left. But clearly you have a lot of passion. You're putting in the work. You're putting in the skill, showing your skill on this. Why are you the best kept secret on Facebook? Like, what brought you into this, and why have we not heard from you until this draft? Am I just not paying attention? What got you started, bud?
I was writing for another page, Game Changer Sport Network. They do great work too. I mean, I didn't leave. I leave because I live someone.
If you were there, they clearly do. But yes.
Yeah, they do great work. A shout out to them. I just wanted to do my own thing. Their demographic was more kind of hockey, wrestling, football. I wanted to just reach out to people who just wanted to know about the draft because that's what I loved. So I didn't even start my page to October of this year, October 27th.
Which I saw.
When I started my page.
So this is like your Super Bowl.
Yeah, I look forward to this morning's Super Bowl. The Super Bowl was over, and I was like, no, man, it's just getting started for me. This is my favorite part of the year.
So what do you do after the draft?
Well, I mean, I'm watching players all through the year, but you kind of started getting ready. You kind of start focusing on players you really like. I know after the draft, I really started watching these quarterbacks. Because at one point, I had Kenny Pickett as my QB1. I'm glad I changed that. Jesus, I don't see the hype with Kenny Pickett. It's QB5 for me.
That far down. You dropped him that far down.
QB5. It is.
What makes you? And don't say hand size because
No.
the ball is small. The ball is smaller than the NFL, and he predicted it just fine in college. What makes you drop? I'm not saying I disagree with you. He gets a lot of hype because of his fake slide play. He gets a lot of highlight reels and stuff like that. Strength of schedule, all that. I'm not disagreeing with you necessarily, but why do you drop him that far?
It took him 3 years to pop in the ACC. He had, 2 years previous, he had no more than 13 touchdowns in a season. And I see him. I think that's an OU shirt you got on there. It kind of reminds me of Baker in the sense. I like Baker. Don't get me wrong, but he's not the athlete he thinks he is. He does a lot of stuff off script that I think he's going to get clobbered for in the NFL, kind of like Baker has. And I don't think he's that much of a polished passer to sit back there and then just throw it. Looks like Sam Darnold to me. I think it's Sam Darnold, the second coming.
I wasn't a fan of Sam Darnold from the beginning.
No, I wasn't.
Turnover king. I think people like Kenny Pickett because of what he did and the fake slide and stuff. But like you said, it just he's back burner. He's going to get on the team, but I think
he'll be drafted.
I love the stat that they're putting up right now. I'm sorry, Root, to cut you off. We got Willis and Pickett. 98% available at 11, 95% available at 16, 86% available at 19, and 74% available at 20. So they think at least one of these guys is going to be gone by pick 20. And I want to let you finish your thought, Roop, because the talk right now, as we sit here to the draft, is Willis and Pickett, and we're all kind of talking that Pickett is a little bit overrated. Finish your thoughts on Pickett, and then if you could tell me why Willis, why did Pickett get compared up to Willis? I'm not saying either of these guys are super elite or anything like that, but out of the class, what we have to work with, I think Willis is the clear number one. So how does Pickett get moved up ahead of these other guys?
Highlight reel, like when you see something like that changes the game, that changes a rule, you get you see a lot of face. You see a lot of on ESPN or YouTube or whatever. So you see a lot of that. That's the only reason why he's getting talked up. Anybody else? Sam Darnold got talked up a lot and failed across the board. So I think Malik Willis is going to be the first one that should be off the board. He just got a better talent around. But, I mean, like Detroit Lions picked 32, Malik Willis. That's where I think would be a comfortable spot for him. You can get that fifth-year option. That's where I would take him. I think Kennedy Pickett will fall in the second or third round. Because, like I said an hour ago, quarterbacks are pretty deep right now across the board on all teams, and you need it's going to be defensive heavy for sure.
So the pick is in. Ekwonu, as I said, I'm going to count myself a little bit. You said it also, Bryce. Ekwonu definitely goes to the Panthers.
That big boy right there runs that fast?
That he's a fast guy, right? Like
He ran sub-5, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll tell you what, and the thing is about Ekwonu is he played at NC State, right? So he's not playing for an Alabama. He's not playing for an Ohio State. He's not even playing for a USC or anything like that. He's playing for NC State. And to go that high, I mean, predicted to go 3-4, but we understand why that didn't happen. But to go 6, and deservedly so, I think is a great pick. Personally, for Carolina, I think it's something they definitely need, especially with probably replacing McCaffrey, who wasn't a great blocker anyway. But, if you're going to have Sam Darnold as your quarterback, you damn sure better give him time to throw the ball. And I think this guy probably does that, Bryce.
Yeah, better protect him. I mean,
Sam Darnold. I still have a little belief in Sam Darnold, just a little bit, if you can give him some time.
Well, can't any NFL quarterback get it done?
Yeah, that's true.
Bryce,
that's true. But yeah,
I got to go this one.
You hope.
Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. Who do you want in your team in Carolina?
Baker all day.
No doubt about it. 100%. Baker got done dirty in
Baker's
Cleveland.
got the heart, like you brought up before. Baker's got the heart, 100%. He wants to win. So to go back to the same question, Bryce, how does Pickett get next to Malik? Malik, I think, is the clear number 1, and I'd like your thoughts on that as well. But how does Pickett get ranked number 2 in all this hype and draft hype and stuff? When again, you've got him at 5. A lot of people have him lower than 2, obviously.
It's just the season he had. I think he had 42 touchdowns and 7 picks, which is a great season. But you're in the ACC. His best game was against the school Sky Mars from Western Michigan. That's the highlight reel you see when you watch Kenny Pickett. Western Michigan.
Okay.
I don't think it's close between Willis and Pickett. Willis, arm strength, he's got it. Mobility, he's got it. He's raw in other senses of the game, but you look at the quarterbacks who are kind of on top now. They were the guys coming out, your Josh Allen, your Patrick Mahomes. What were they built as? Raw with tools. That's kind of what. And I kind of got into the game in 2018. It's kind of when I really started with that class. All these other people haven't changed their mindset yet. They're still looking for the guy that's 6'5", who can make all the reads. And you kind of got to shift from that, and you got to start looking at tools, because quarterbacks got to be the most.
Question for you.
Go ahead.
When you're talking about Malik Willis or Trey Lance on your team?
Ooh, Trey Lance. Trey Lance was my QB2 last year. I just want you to know that I was really high on Trey Lance. I hope he doesn't let me down. But
T says Baker is too immature, and that Willis hasn't played anybody, so he hasn't really put this alleged elite talent on display. How do you guys feel about that?
Neither has Willis, but at least he's got a first round.
He's talking about Willis.
Yeah, well, neither has Pickett, and Pickett has Jordan Addison, who's going to be a first-round pick next year. Tell me somebody from Liberty that's going to be any pick in any round in the next 2 years.
Yeah, Bryce has got a point there. Listen, T. Baker being immature. If you get 3.
He likes to start fires, by the way. He likes to get people talking. So I don't know if he necessarily believes.
I'm going to put you on the pedestal here. You can't go through 3 coaches, 3 offensive coordinators, get injured, and then get somebody 230 million plus, all guaranteed, with some issues on the side, and then not complain a little bit. I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. Baker, complain all you want. Go for it. Get out of Cleveland and go somewhere else where you're more appreciated. I can't stand it. I am no longer a Cleveland fan. I have taken it all away. So leave it at that. Baker, move on. He'll be better. Don't worry about the Willis not playing nobody. He could, a lot of people don't play somebody and then they come in the NFL and can be elite. It's about that heart. You got the skill. You got that heart. I want the heart. So bring that on. Let Willis go where he wants. Let him go to Detroit and be elite.
The Giants pick is in. They have chosen Evan Neal. Again, not a big. It's crazy.
Not surprising
that Neal drops to 7. It's crazy that Ekwonu drops to 6. But great picks, honestly, by 2 teams you don't necessarily expect to make great picks, right? The Giants kind of really lucked out being able to take Neal at this point, I think. What do you guys think?
Definitely. That's 2 A-plus picks. I mean, they knocked it out of the park. You improved on both sides of the ball where you needed help at, which was edge and offensive line. No complaints.
To have both sides right now, especially the Giants have to win on pick 5 and 7. They have to score on this and you want to get somebody who's going to be able to be in the league 10 years that can stay on this team and hopefully be healthy, because that's really what it comes down to most of the time. And to get both sides of the ball, even, they were thinking like, wide receiver, the Giants can still get it done, but I think they're going to go probably, some sort of offense a little bit later in the game. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this receiver draft is somewhat deep, not as deep as the other positions, but I think you can grab a starting guy day 2. Late in the day 2. It's a good class. But, I mean, they got Kenny Golladay. Of course, they're trying to move on from Tony. But they got Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton. That's a decent cast of receivers.
Yeah, I mean, with what you're working with, it's perfectly fine. So I don't see an issue there. I'm not saying they're elite, but they do have the potential to score some touchdowns. For the most part. What about Atlanta? Atlanta's on the board, right?
Atlanta's on the clock, and Atlanta's so interesting because their quarterback's too old. They got a great pick last year, but they don't have the talent around to use them. Cordell Patterson, who definitely won me some games the year before last, kind of shows up, but he's not, somebody that you can depend on all the time. Atlanta's kind of a dumpster fire right now from my perspective.
Come on, it's been that way for years.
I kind of feel bad for who's about to get picked, but with your board kind of changing here, what are you looking at?
So let's see. What I wanted them to do all year was go corner, but of course the top 2 are off the board. I think a lot of people want them to take receiver. The Falcons are not good enough to draft for need right now. They're not.
Yeah,
and the receiver is not going to move the needle. You just got to start building up that roster.
Do they take Cross? I mean, is Cross is like your top guy that's still out there? Well, I guess Johnson's still out there too, right? Grab an edge, or do they go defense?
I could see Johnson going here.
Sure.
I could see a wild card and see Jordan Davis going here. That's another pick I kind of thought Atlanta might make. You never know, but
that would be a big reach. Well, would you consider that a reach the way the board has changed?
I think it's still a little bit of a reach. I'm a Devontae Wyatt guy. He's my DT1. I got Devontae Wyatt over Jordan Davis.
You do.
Jordan Davis is not a pass rusher right now. He's just a big body to clog the middle. Which what good is that in today's game? Teams are passing anyways.
So we kind of talked about what got you into this. You were working for somebody else, and then you were able to kind of go out on your own, and you just really kind of picked this up in October, and we talked about this being your Super Bowl. So I did ask you, what happens after the draft, and I do still want to let you expand on that. I guess what else is like? Is this where you're happy, or do you have a path that you're on?
No, I mean it all starts when college football starts. Matter of fact, I don't have access to all 22. Like the all 22 film. I'm sure you guys have seen it, where you can see the whole field. I don't have access to that. So during the college football season, I was screen recording games on my phone to go back and watch them later that night. That's how I kind of watch film. And then combination of that, Twitter is pretty helpful. I got on Twitter big because you can go on there and watch guys break down film. So it starts up to the Super Bowl. After the Super Bowl starts, I kind of narrow in on my prospects. I start looking at who's going to be my first round guys, who's going to be day 2 guys, who's some sleepers to look out for. And then you get into that takes me up to the Senior Bowl, which is where you really start getting some sleepers, some names like Jermaine Johnson. The reason Jermaine Johnson wasn't a first round pick until the Senior Bowl. That's the reason he's a first round pick. He dominated the Senior Bowl. Devontae Wyatt did as well. Travis Jones, I'm sure you guys heard of him, DT from UConn. He wasn't really on anybody's radar to the Senior Bowl. I'd seen him. I love Travis Jones. But you keep doing that. I don't even know, man. It's just a blur, really. I look up and it's draft time. It seemed like just yesterday was a Super Bowl.
Right? It kind of was. It kind of was. So as the Atlanta pick comes in, we see them grab Drake London. Atlanta going wide receiver again. Oh, man, what is going on in Atlanta right now? Don't get me wrong. This is a fantastic pick for the position. I feel bad for Drake London right now. I guess you've got the suspension. Kyle Pitts, your tight end, is your top receiver last year. They put up the graphic that Atlanta was last in reception and receiving yards last year.
Isn't Mariota quarterback there now?
I don't.
Yeah.
Bryce,
No,
here,
Mariota,
the expert here. Bryce, break this one down for me. Tell me how. Who's getting fired?
I got a lot of trash to talk because Drake London was my wide receiver 1. I had him as first wide receiver.
I think he's a lot of people's wide receiver 1.
Yes.
I got so much trash talk to me when I had him as my wide receiver 1. Oh my! I got so much trash to talk after this. I love him. People talk
he's
about
not my wide receiver 1, but I can understand the argument.
He's 6'4", he's 220. He didn't participate in the combine because of his ankle, but he's probably a 4'5", 4'6" guy, which at 6'5", 220, that's good speed. Great on a 50-50 ball. He's good at creating separation, not in your traditional way. So people watch the tape, and he's not running by people, so they're like, he can't separate. No, Drake London, when he puts his feet in the ground and breaks away from that corner, I think I've seen a stat against 150 snaps of press coverage this year. He was creating on average 3.5 yards of separation, which was the highest of anybody in this class. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's my guy. Drake London's been my guy all year. I hate to see him go to Atlanta, but I'm happy to see him to be the first wide receiver off the board, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think he's going to be great.
Is he going to be great in Atlanta?
Listen, I think Mariota is now going to be great in Atlanta.
I think he could fit. You got Arthur Smith there. I think he could fit into that A.J. Brown role that Arthur Smith ran.
Does Atlanta have another first-round pick? No, Atlanta does not have another first-round pick. That would make sense. Maybe they were going to grab. I'm at a loss right now. Again, great
receiver, but they're too bad to be drafting receivers right now.
Okay.
What's the number 1 rule of the draft? Take who? Which player do you take? You take the best receiver, the best player on the board, and that was not the best player on the board. So, and that's the thing, and you brought it up.
Okay, if the brass believes in what they already have, and they know that somebody was betting on games and is going to be out for the year, Drake London is a great pick. It's not bad.
The thing is that even if you're going to go wide receiver. We're talking about it right now. Is Drake London the best wide receiver? You talk about taking flack. I mean, is he? I don't know. I'm not going to say that he is or isn't because we don't know. And so do you risk that pick when there's other guys that are clearly the best, at least the best left at their position right now? I just don't know. I'm really surprised with that pick.
I think what Atlanta's doing is they're respecting the team that they have, not like
They
Cleveland
They
did.
shouldn't.
And they went for, hey, we have an emptiness at wide receiver right now. Next year, think about, Kyle Pitts and London and somebody who's suspended right now that comes back and still is elite. I don't want to say his name yet. Next year, and then have a quarterback there. Like, you have an elite balance next year. So I'm not going to hate on him. I know I have friends that are Atlanta fans, but you know what? Listen, they're okay. They're not going to do much this year. They're prepping for the year after and for future, but we'll see what Mariota does. I mean, come on, a Heisman winner, he has something to prove. He's going to come out and bring everything he has with what's in front of him.
I just want to welcome everybody who's tuning in and joining the show. Make comments. We can see them. Go ahead and make your comments. Follow the link beyond the show with Bryce Dial, the guru, the news draft guru, nailed the third pick. Definitely has his players up here. And T says that doesn't matter because Mariota can't throw the ball to him anyway. He might have a point. It's interesting what Atlanta's trying to do. I don't want to stick to Atlanta too much, but I do want to, because Mariota can't get the ball to him. So they've got a pretty good receiving core now, especially with Kyle Pitts. They've got a running back duo that can at least throw defenses off. But you got Mariota at quarterback. So with all this talent that you've drafted, assuming everybody plays, is Atlanta making sense to you, Bryce? Or
Here's how I'm sitting here justifying it. The two biggest needs I've seen going in, because they signed Casey Hayward this offseason, so they got another corner for at least a year. They signed Rashaan Evans, so now they got Deion Jones, Rashaan Evans, middle linebackers. The biggest need was wide receiver and edge, and this is an extremely deep edge class, and they pick early in the second. So if they go edge in the second, this will make sense to me. I'd have went edge first, went receiver in the second, but I'm not running the Falcons. But that's how I'm going to justify it.
I'm sorry to interrupt you because I don't want to lose it. What I wanted to ask you is, now that Atlanta has taken Drake London, we're going to see receivers come off the board. We brought this up, Mike, with Dakota earlier on, Dakota Nix from Great Union Sports, fantastic page. Olave and Wilson. Everybody's putting Wilson. I'm Ohio State Buckeye fan. I would have put Olave over Wilson. I'm without looking at your board. Who do you have ahead and why?
Jameson Williams is my wide receiver too.
No. As far as just those two receivers.
Olave and Wilson. Yeah. I have Wilson over Olave.
What made you pick Wilson over Olave? And
yards after the catch. That's really all it come down to.
Welcome to the show, everybody.
Oh my God, nailed it. Got him.
That in there. It just kind of happened. It wasn't planned, but there it is. But no, the yards after the catch is what I get. So my not argument, playing the devil's advocate, if you will, or whatever. Olave caught most of his balls in the end zone, so there wasn't a lot of room for yards after the catch. Being a Buckeye fan, again, seeing these guys week in, week out, I like Olave's route running better. I like his skill level better. I do think Wilson has more separation. I think he can climb the ladder a little better than Olave. But Olave is kind of like Chris Carter. All he catches is touchdowns. So for someone like you that really does do your homework, and clearly, to say that the yards after the catch was kind of the deciding factor.
It was that, and you got to look at upside. What is, if they both hit their best version, who is going to be the better receiver? And kind of like what you alluded to with Olave, the separation, the yards after the catch, he catches all his balls in the end zone. That screams wide receiver 2 to me. I think he can be a high upside wide receiver 2, whereas Garrett Wilson, with his ability to separate, his ability to get yards after the catch, I think he can be a number 1 wide receiver in the league. And
I can't argue completely because again, when I think of Olave, I think of like a Chris Carter. When I think of Wilson, I think of an Allen Robinson. Robinson clearly taller. Charles Cross going to the Seahawks. Great pick for the Seahawks. They definitely need some offensive line help. I think that's a big reason that they lost Wilson. Say again.
So he fell in their lap for sure. That was a lucky.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. They definitely wiped the board when they saw the picks and they had to start over. But for that to fall to them is fantastic. I'm sure Wilson probably wishes he hadn't left now after that pick, but maybe a small part of him. You've probably got a lot of things on your mind, Mike, because me and Bryce are kind of dominating the conversation.
No.
Apologize for that.
A lot of thought processing questions because I want to see what Bryce has upstairs because he's dominating for sure. Mm-hmm. So you said Wilson's going first, right? Let's say. Because he's going to be the better one. Okay, he goes to Philadelphia Eagles, and Olave goes to
Saints. It's not even work. Well, no, Packers and Saints.
Day
a lot of people talking about. Okay, so let me ask you this: in your homework, because I've seen things, and I haven't done nearly the work that you have about Olave going to Washington, which a lot of people want to make that connection because McLaren's there to have those both those Buckeyes there. Elite receivers. McLaren would easily be number one. Olave would fill that number 2 role, and it would be super dangerous if they find someone to throw the ball. But again, that's pick 11. The Jets are picking next, which is also interesting to see what they're going to do. But with the Jets, Washington, and Minnesota coming up next, and again, your board getting, everybody's board gets adjusted. What are you looking at? Again, falling back on that homework.
I still think Jets go receiver here. I had him Jameson Williams in my last mock, and I think that's where he still go.
Still do.
Maybe Jermaine Johnson. Like I said, I'm still thinking he's a top 10 lock like I was hearing, but I think Jameson Williams or Jermaine Johnson from New York. Washington, I had going Drake London.
You did.
Because I think.
So could you see a Wilson or an Olave here? I mean, is that a far reach?
Well, the reason I put him there is because he's a different body type than what they have in the room already, which is Curtis Samuel, Terry McLaurin, which is 6-foot guys, speedy guys.
And both Olave and Wilson are both.
And that's the thing. Yeah, and then you got my thought was bringing London, who's a different body type, a different type of receiver, so you got more of a variety. Washington, I think this is a trade back spot for Washington. Really, I think it's trade back anyway. I'm sure a team wants to come up.
A lot of people overlook that. I to hear you say it is actually a really great spot because when you talk about what's left, if they are looking at wide receiver, this could be a great spot for them to make a trade and still get a wide receiver. Someone they're looking for. So if they're looking to trade up with even just a couple of picks, a Houston or a Baltimore or something like that, they could still get someone like that, like a Jameson Williams or something like that, if the Jets don't take him and things like that. You got Kyle Hamilton at safety for Minnesota. So what's interesting is you've got two receivers, understandably so, going to the Jets and Washington. Then we go back to defense, and the next 3 picks, you got Minnesota, Houston, and Baltimore taking defense. With what you've seen, are you still comfortable with that?
Yeah, I am. Definitely on Minnesota. I think if they don't go safety, they go corner. It's just, corner room. They got Cameron Bynum, who played corner in college. He was rookie last year. You can always move him to corner. You got hitman Harry Smith, one of my all-time favorite players, but he's on the wrong side of 30. It's time to start looking for a replacement. Hamilton's a blue-chip talent. He's kind of fell a little bit here. Concerns have been brought up, and rightfully so. There are some concerns. He wasn't this Superman perfect prospect everybody was out making him out to be, 2 months ago. Texans, I could still see him going defense. I could see Trevor Penning come off the board here since they didn't address offensive line at 3. Maybe they address it at 13. I think Devin Lloyd, who I had mocked there originally, I still like that. And then 14, kind of same thing. Jordan Davis or Trevor Penning, if he's still there. Those are my 2 guys for them. I don't really see it changing.
All right, so the Jets they take Garrett Wilson.
Wow.
Again, so they went wide receiver as you predicted. They just took Wilson instead. I don't think this is a bad pick. I think, if you're going to go receiver, again, you got a couple 6-foot guys. You talked about the different style and play, and I definitely hear what you're saying. I don't disagree. I think your pick may have been a little better, but I think Garrett Wilson, again, based off what you said as well, is a great pick for the Jets.
And he's coming into a room. He doesn't have to be wide receiver 1 right away because you got Elijah Moore, you got Corey Davis.
Look at those. I don't know if you're watching right now, but they just showed him, and his knees were above the Clemson defender. I mean, that's how high he climbed, and I think that is a big plus for Wilson.
And that's separation as well. That's another way to create separation. It's just crazy. I think I comped him to CeeDee Lamb when I was scouting him. Nothing about him's like freaky, but he just gets open. He finds a way to make a catch. He finds that zone in the defense.
Yeah, if you can get it to him, he will catch it. I mean, I definitely 100%.
Ridiculous.
And CeeDee Lamb was kind of that same way coming out. He just got open. Like, he wasn't the freakiest athlete, but he got open.
Bryce, I'm up against the clock here. Are you able to stick around, or do you have things going on that you need to do?
I'm using my phone. I'm on 38%, so I got a little while longer.
If I were to take your go ahead and cut you out for a little bit, give you a little chance to charge up your phone and whatnot, and bring in the Elite Fantasy guys, would you possibly be available to come back later on in the show?
Yeah, for sure. Just shoot me a text or something.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll hit you up. I'll let you charge that phone up and do that. Bryce, look, I cannot properly convey what a pleasure it has been to have you on the show and have you hit those picks and just kind of show off what you're able to do. Clearly, you're someone that we're gonna pump up, but I mean, just the fact that you took the time to do the work and it paid off for you. I know I speak for Mike when I say we're just ecstatic, just super excited to see that stuff pay off for you and actually have you on the show before ESPN calls. That was amazing.
One can only hope, right? I know, guys. I appreciate you having me on. It's been a pleasure just to get it. This first live show I've really been on, starting in October. So just to get out here and be able to talk football with two guys who love it as well, that's been a pleasure.
Guys, the pleasure's all ours. I mean, really, the sideline scout, but really is your head's already in the game. We couldn't thank you enough for everything that you've done, brought to the table. It is phenomenal. Very impressed. With all of your knowledge, even the backside of stuff that nobody really thinks about. It's been really a pleasure. I do really appreciate it.
All right, guys, and I'll talk to you later.
100%. I'll hit you up. Thank you so much. That's Bryce Dial, Sideline Scout. Check out his page on Facebook because, hey, look, kid knows what he's talking about, and proof is in the pudding. We'll hit you back up. Hopefully we'll have you back on later on if you're available, Bryce. But thank you so much for spending some time with us today. We appreciate it.
No problem, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Have a great one, Bryce.
Thank you.
Bryce Dial, everybody, again. Wow. That was amazing, that third pick. I'm still kind of blown away. I still got little goosebumps about that. That was pretty cool to see him. I mean, essentially, that's what he did. He went head-to-head with Kiper and McShay and the guys that, people are looking to be right. And he showed them what's up. He showed them what a little homework and just paying attention can do. I mean, he beat him.
Yeah,
he killed it.
Nailed it. I'm so impressed. Like
so impressed.
When you could do that amount, pick that many times correctly, you got this is the best pick for your team, and then nail them across the board. It's kind of like, how are you not on a team somewhere? Maybe you should be our GM of some sort or
something like that. Hey, look, everybody. We got EliteFantasyGames.com sitting in the wings. They are in the lobby. You guys are not going to want to miss this. These guys are doing some amazing stuff. We're going to hit a quick commercial. We're going to use a little body. We're going to refill the old cup there. And we are going to come back.
Cody and Daniel?
Cody and Daniel, founders of Elite Fantasy Games.
All
Cody
right.
and Daniel, we see you out there. Just hang on 1 second. We're going to do this commercial, and then we're going to get into it. I'm excited to see what you guys have to say about the draft so far. It's been a good one, everybody. Let's keep it going. And here's a little entertainment for you. Let's get this going. We'll see you back in a minute.
Oh, Lizzie, what's up?
And I say that apples and milk. Come back to dinner, okay? Oh dear, your organs. I think you're cool. I'll pick your. I don't want it loud. Just be quiet. It was. She's really loud. She wouldn't let me get a sonnet in. How are you? Middling? I'm great, unlike you guys. You want an empanada? They have them up there. I don't eat meat. Yeah, well, it's working for me. Yep. Evelyn brought me the virus. Yeah, heart attack. Have a very supportive neck. The hand towels are all about your guess. And sometimes I let my dog spit in my pasta. Why'd you even tell me that? I don't want to know that kind of stuff. It's fine. No, it's not. Hey, kid, I'm working here. I scolded you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, wait, they're looking to act like there's emotion. Hey, you hand that thing to me? Y'all know I won't play like that. You play? Yeah, the trumpet. The trumpet. But I don't play no more, man. So, like, who cares? Friend got sick, so I...
The Great Ratsby.
Batak LeBevins.
Stormy the Lightning. Hamster Odyssey.
Hey, just look out, y'all. It's a chicken. A chicken. Sequester the chicken. You gotta stop it or we might not leave here.
Hey, does one of y'all have my juice?
Where's that cute divorcee? She just got divorced on first day. Oh no. What? I knew it. It was a mistake.
Oh, what a striking scent. It deserves another whiff.
My grandfather chose.
A little bit of technical difficulties there, folks, but hopefully you got to watch a little lip sync action there. We like those things. We throw them up every now and again. But we got a lot of people on right now. We got a lot of people sending us comments, so we're going to have those issues. We appreciate you guys showing up. We got a real treat for you guys right now. If we didn't have a big enough one already with Dakota Nix and Bryce just nailing those picks. The Saints pick is in, and we're going to bring in the Elite Fantasy Games guys, Cody and Daniel, after this pick because we want to get their thoughts on it. Actually, I'm going to bring them in now because it looks like
Bryce said that Washington was going to trade this pick away, and
he was spot on.
And he was spot on. So
they absolutely Washington traded this pick, and here are the Saints. Bryce is coming with some knowledge.
Bryce is money top 11 for sure.
100%.
Daniel coming in. Oh, there they are.
What's going on, guys? Elite Fantasy Games. We got Cody. We got Daniel. We're definitely going to get into what you guys are doing because we love what you guys are doing. We hope you guys are loving the draft. I don't know if you caught Bryce before you guys, but he is nailing this draft as well. What are you guys thinking so far about how things are going?
I was really shocked at the Texans passing on the O-lineman to go defense. Really shocked me. As a diehard Colts fan, I like to see the Texans messing up. So
there you go.
What about Coach?
I mean, according to the odds, there was only one or two picks that have been off of Vegas right now, so it's been pretty clean and steady so far.
I like
I
Drake
mean,
London for Atlanta a lot. I really like that Drake London. I had him the last 2 years in fantasy. We play fantasy college too, and I think Drake is going to be amazing. I was hoping he would fall to 42, but I know that was a pipe dream.
Yeah.
that would have been nice for you guys. That would have been nice for you.
Wow.
I'm going to ask you if you could turn your volume down. I'm getting a lot of echo on there. I can hear you guys fine. If you can't hear me, let me know. We got the hype man up here. We got a guy in a Kansas City jersey, it looks like, for the Saints picks. But Bryce called this. He said that Washington was going to trade this pick, which they did. Where do you guys think the Saints are going to go with this team?
Well, it just flashed on the screen, so I'm thinking.
Well, I guess it's out. The secret is out. Do you like the pick, I guess, for the Saints then?
Honestly, if you're going to trade up, I thought they'd go reach for a QB, so I'm surprised.
QB too. I mean, okay.
Olave definitely wasn't going to be there. It's interesting to see them go for Olave when they have Michael Thomas. So now you've got the double Buckeye thing, assuming that Thomas will play, because the controversy is there whether he's actually going to play or not. I think he will. I mean, this is a good pick. Again, I think it's surprising to trade up for it, right?
No,
I
no,
didn't
Chris
see how
Olave
far the
is
Saints
great.
traded up to get there, but I mean, this is the wide receiver draft, so I guess you can't. But there's so many quality wide receivers in this draft. The trading up for it, I guess we'll have to see how much they had to pay for it, but
yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, to see those details. Bryce had talked about in the big knock again is the separation and stuff like that. You're going to see in this highlight reel that it doesn't matter if he has separation or not. Again, he's one of those guys, if you get him the ball, but he's such a crisp route runner that it creates that separation by confusing the DBs, and that's not going to work as well in the NFL. But I think the asset here, and you see separation there, he blew right past him. But if you can get him the ball, he will catch it. So the question really is this the best pick for the Saints? They traded up for it. But is this the best pick that they could have made at this spot with the people left on the board? You talk about taking the best talent on the board. Is this the best they could have done in this position?
I don't know why they think I don't know what they see in Jameis that makes them think that he's the quarterback. So I think they had other holes on that team other than wide receiver.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mike?
I think that Jameis Winston can get it done with the talent around him and whatnot, but I think the Saints traded up for no reason. I think they could have gotten him a couple of picks later. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what they were hearing on the back channels, with the brass all around the league. I think they could have sat and still gotten the talent that they wanted in a wide receiver a couple of picks later. I think they wasted any draft capital they had, whatever they put on. I don't know. They could have got a deal on it, but it wasn't impressive to me. Like they could have gotten a couple of picks later.
So speaking of a potential waste on draft capital, so we know obviously the Saints traded up to that position to get Olave. Minnesota had the next pick, but now we see that Detroit is traded up. And we're about to find out what was so important to Detroit to move that high up the draft board. Again, it'll be interesting to see the details of these deals tomorrow and see what they gave up. But you might get it tonight, honestly. It's early enough in the draft.
I'm interested to find out what I thought Olave could have come out last year. And I thought maybe staying in another year might have hurt him, but going 11th, I guess it didn't.
I wasn't really, as a Buckeyes fan, obviously I watch him, and he says, obviously you're a Buckeye fan, we get it. But I say that, I bring it to track on a Buckeyes fan because I watched these guys every single week, and not everybody else did. So it doesn't surprise me to see him in the top tier like that. Again, I could definitely have seen him go before Wilson. But I think making these trades, moving that far up the draft board, not knowing the exact details yet, still could have been a bit much.
Sorry, we just had another member of EFG Nation hop into the party here. Sorry.
No, that's good, and feel free to share your comments. We love comments. We've got comments going on. We try to get to them all. No, we love that. And you bring up, Lizzie Real Page says EFG, if that's what you're talking about. So welcome, Lizzie, to the show. Hope you're sticking around. And again, if you have anything for these guys, hey, follow the link and you can come on the show with these guys. Okay, we see the Lions. The Vikings get the 32nd, 34th for essentially picking back-to-back. And they're getting the Lions' third-round pick. The Lions gave up a lot for this pick. It's going to be interesting to see who they took, who they felt was worth giving all this up for.
Who did DC Principal think was important enough to trade up for?
I already know.
The run on wide receivers continues.
What's your guess? Anybody have a guess here?
Yeah, let me check. I'm going to go with Jameson Williams.
So reach on the guess. Good job, Mike. No, I'm giving you a hard time because I know the pick was already up. Again, so Wilson and Olave go ahead of Williams, which is kind of surprising. Detroit gives up 3 picks, essentially, to move up to grab them. As far as wide receivers go, I think it's a great pick. It's a great move. Again, I don't know. I think Detroit made a better trade, honestly, than New Orleans did.
Yeah.
Well, whoever's going to replace Jared Goff's going to be real happy.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
And leads on the board.
So let's do the introduction on Elite Fantasy Games. We're going to definitely talk about what you guys are about because we kind of talked about it prepping for the show. I love what you guys are about. But let's go ahead and do the introduction properly.
Elite Fantasy Games started about 10 years ago when Cody and I decided that we were going to make our fantasy football games a little more organized. It all started off with one league that turned into 2 leagues, that turned into 3 leagues, and then the brain over here had this great idea to invent a new style of game that we call Elite Games. And then it just kind of sprung up from there. We started recruiting our friends, and our friends started recruiting their friends, and so on and so on. And so now we're averaging about 110 unique players a year. We have 65 different games a year. We call ourselves a club and not a company because we don't take a rake. We don't make any money doing this. We do it for the love of gaming. We do it because we like to game, so we want people to play with us. So we have a pool tonight. We've got 12 people in a draft pool tonight. That was $5 to enter, so that's $60 collected. So we're going to pay out $60. We're not going to keep any of it for ourselves. But just we believe that when you have a little bit of money on the game, it makes it more interesting. And we do everything now. When we started off just with football, now we do football, baseball, basketball, hockey, golf, tennis. We even do pop culture games like WWE and betting on the Oscars. And we have a Hollywood game, too, where you build a stable of movies and earn points based on their box office receipts. So we get pretty creative.
No, it's fantastic. We love that.
We've got 2 games going just for the draft. We have a 28 prop bet game for the draft, for the whole draft, and then we have just a small $5 game for just the first round. So we try to get creative. We try to have fun. I know I'm doing all the talking. He's the brains of the operation.
That's, you know what, we have the same problem. I do a lot of the talking, and the smart guy sits there and listens, and then he says really intelligent things after me. Cody, I see your Vikings hat. You guys obviously traded your pick. How do you feel about trading that pick first of all?
Okay. Well, first thing I always tell people is I'm not a Vikings guy. I'm not an any guy. I'm a hat guy. I have
Okay,
a hat
that's
for
fair
every
enough.
team. I really don't have opinion on teams. I think that's what makes me a pretty decent fantasy player. Is I wasn't raised on anybody. I come in with a free mind every single draft that I do. So,
And I'm the opposite. I'm a diehard Colts fan, and I will take Colts higher than they should go, and I'll let Patriots fall because, well, I'm a Colts fan.
Well, my wife is a Colts fan too, so I have to deal with that. Cody, he said you're the brains. He said you're kind of the one that initiated the page, initiated the idea. And Daniel, you hit it right on the head. I mean, you guys have like across every sport and beyond. You talk about the wrestling and the Emmys and Grammys and all these things. What clearly you have a love for fantasy sports, Cody, but what triggers? Let's make it bigger. Why do the, especially not to take a profit?
What made you want to do this, and especially not take a profit? What's your drive? What was your idea?
at first it was just so we can hang out with our friends and get away, like an excuse to get away and have some drafts together. And then, it kind of became kind of infectious and saw how many other people liked it. And we had to make that choice to go, ours, this is ours, or give it to everybody. And I think we made the right choice to give it to everybody and give everybody a shot at what we do. We try to create games that are out of the box. I think the original idea for the first game that I had was because Daniel recruited me into fantasy. And I wasn't really a huge sports guy at that time. I watched sports, but I never really got into fantasy. And he got me into my first fantasy football draft. And I was like, whoa, this is overwhelming for someone's first year. I'm looking at sheets with 200, 300 people on them, and I don't really know what's going on. I was like, there's got to be something simpler and easier to get other people into it. And that's when we started creating fantasy games based around teams and not just individual players, so people could draft a set of teams together and root for them all year. And then once we got those core players, then we started incorporating nice old school styles of fantasy and just getting a complete mix of everything, together as one.
I think Cody really hit it on the head there. We all, as we're getting older, wives and kids and lives taking over, and EFG really is an excuse for us all to stay together. It's an excuse for us to have contact with each other on a regular basis. And what started off was just all of our drafts used to always be live and in person, so it was just an excuse to come hang out with your buddies. But now we've gone nationwide. We have players in New York City and Denver, Colorado, San Francisco, Tampa Bay. We've got a big group up in Milwaukee that are playing right now. So it kind of grew a lot bigger than the initial idea of just an excuse to hang out with your friends on a Saturday night.
For sure.
I really enjoy that. I love how you hit all the sports, or even the Oscars. I'll tell you what, I'm counting the wife and I in for the Oscars next year. That's my wife's Super Bowl. So I'll tell you what, we'll be in. You can count us in. And whatever the game is, we're in on it. So I just have a little fun and hang out with the family.
ESPN made it a lot easier. ESPN actually hosted the game this year, so we didn't have to do it on paper like we used to.
Yeah.
I tell you, the Eagles have traded up real quick, just to keep everybody. I know everybody's, if they're watching, they're watching. The Texans get the 15th. They get a 4th round, and they get 2 5th-round picks. So the Eagles clearly want somebody pretty bad. And the pick is in, so we're about to find out who it is. I guess we'll wait for that before I hit the next question.
The first 10 picks were pretty calm, and now it seems everything's gone crazy.
Yeah. Things are definitely getting off the rails right now. And we talked about how the middle of the draft, I think it's honestly a little early to see all these trades, but we were talking earlier about how the middle and bottom third of the draft, you really see a lot of trades for picks. So it's actually really coming early to see all these trades and people giving up later picks to go after somebody, and honestly, which isn't really a deep draft. So maybe it makes sense because it seems like there's a big separation between the top tier players and the tier 1, tier 2 guys, and then the top 3, tier 3, tier 4 guys. There seems to be a big separation there. So maybe it makes sense to move up in the first round and get somebody a little better caliber.
Well, that's one of the props in our prop bet game tonight is how many trades on night 1 after the first pick. So hopefully someone's keeping track.
Yeah. 3 or 4 now.
What'd you say, Mike? 4?
I think it's 3 or 4 trades now.
I had it at 3, but maybe it is 4.
Yeah.
I might have missed one.
Well, yeah, we're coming on and this chance to talk to y'all, we kind of lost track, but hopefully someone's keeping track.
Somebody is somewhere. Yay.
Well, we appreciate the chance to come on and tell us talk about what we're doing.
We love what you're doing.
Love it.
Yeah, no, we absolutely love what you're doing. The pick is in. We'll give everybody a chance to process that real quick. Lizzie says NASCAR. She wants to see NASCAR. I assume you guys are doing NASCAR, or you guys are gonna do NASCAR.
We started our first NASCAR. We did our first fantasy NASCAR game last year. We had to find a host site because ESPN didn't have one, so we found a host site, and we did our first game last year. And then we took what we learned about that, and we have another league going this year. It's a fantasy league, so we might come up with an elite game for it next year. NASCAR seems to be very popular.
Yeah, I think Sleeper's actually picking up NASCAR this year. So yeah, it is definitely coming up. So that's cool that you guys are kind of pioneering that as well. And you see groups like Sleeper following you guys into doing that. Jordan Davis, a pick, defensive pick. That's a good pick for the Eagles. They need some defense. But yeah, as I was saying, we love what you guys are doing. I don't mean to plug our own stuff, but that's why I started Armchair Athletics. That's why we're that's why we're doing this. You guys are kind of in our hearts with what you guys are doing, because you talk about the connections that fantasy players make. And that's what Armchair Athletics is really all about, is players connecting. We really hated seeing people join leagues, and a lot of people will join a lot of leagues and will get on all the different sites and will join leagues with people they don't know, and they'll go the whole season not knowing the people that they're playing with. And we really want to make those connections, and you guys are doing that, and you guys have been doing it for 10 years, and so we're definitely behind that. And then you talked about these elite games. Again, we're going to be airing the first fantasy football reality show this fall, and we have a lot of rule twists, and it's definitely, you bring up that word elite, it's not going to be an easy thing. It's going to be twists and turns and different things that fantasy players are not going to be used to and having to react quickly to. So for you guys to be doing these elite games, and you guys have already been doing them, upping the challenge level, making it more interesting and thus more fun. And I think it's the fun that players really rally around, and I think that's why you guys get the connections. I know that's why our focus is to make it fun and interesting so that players will connect with each other. So to see you guys doing that, and again, for a decade, it's fantastic. We had to have you guys on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
We started off as an excuse to hang out with our friends, and now it's been a way to make new friends, because once that viral thing starts of friends inviting friends, now we've got a rivalry going between one of our Denver players and one of our Boston players. They've never met in person, but they have a friendly rivalry between them just because they play so many games together, and it's really special and fun to see that.
It is.
No, it is, and you guys facilitated that. And to know that you guys had a part in that, I just imagine that's truly rewarding.
And to be honest, I get a little bored at work sometimes, so it helps helps me get through the workday sometimes. I have something else to do.
So let's get into the background. What do you guys do? We're just a couple ex-Army guys. looking for something to bring people together and have people rally around in today's world. What do you got? What do you guys into? What do you guys do?
Me and my wife run a pet care business: dog walking, boarding, cats, pigs, turtles, anything you can think of.
It's got 4 legs. You guys will board it.
When we first started EFG, I was a mattress salesman, and my typical day was 10.5 hours alone in a store waiting for someone to come buy a mattress. So on a typical day, that left me 7 hours of doing nothing. So running fantasy games and being the commissioner and doing all the stats and all the great posts that we do was really just a way for me to fight off boredom on a given day.
So how
I
often do
recently
you
got
win?
a promotion though, and I'm not on the sales floor anymore, so I've had to budget my time a little differently, but it's all worth it.
What'd you say, Mike?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, with all that extra time, with all that extra information flowing around, how often did you win? I mean, if I could spend 7 hours a day at work researching and doing what I really love, I mean, did you get a lot of belts under your name, a lot of trophies?
I've won my fair share, but since I do, I always feel guilty when I win because I think that if the scorekeeper wins too much, I think some people raise some eyebrows. But no, he wins more than I do.
I gotta be honest, he's the smartest sports dude I know, and he should be winning a lot more with the knowledge he has in his head.
Again, I play with my heart, not my head too much.
And I play with the numbers, so.
Yeah, that'll get you in trouble. Both those things will get you in trouble for sure.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you had even brought up your posts, and I have no problem with you talking about your great posts because they really are fantastic. If you guys head over to Elite Fantasy Games on Facebook, you'll see these posts, and they're definitely quality posts. But the leagues that you guys are creating are quality too. Do you guys have a kind of a set formula that you guys have evolved throughout the years, or are you just guys constantly coming up with new ideas and new things that you're trying to do?
In the beginning, it was a lot of fresh ideas that come out of his creative mind. He's the artist. He's the creative type. So a lot of the time it was Cody thinking of wild games. But once games got popular and once we had people signing up for them, then we started repeating and having the same games year over year just because, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So every once in a while we'll try to come up with something fun or a new twist. But at this point, after doing it for 10 years, we're running a lot of the same games. Usually for every league, we have an elite game, we have a fantasy game, and then some playoff games. We've got 2 different NBA playoff games going on as we speak right now. And we have an NHL postseason game starting and 2 regular season games wrapping up this weekend and a postseason game starting on Monday. So we have a little bit of a formula we've kind of got into, but we're always trying to think of something fun and new and a new way to do it. We have a USFL game right now that we created to try to, get everyone into the USFL. But it's some games are hit or miss.
Yeah, for sure.
So
trial and error.
Break down for us and for the viewers, what is the difference? What makes a game elite versus a regular game? You talk about 3 different types of games you have. What differentiates them?
So, did we lose? Okay.
No, gotcha. Sorry about that.
No. For an elite style game, we don't draft individual players. We get teams. The idea is that you build a stable of teams. For example, when we do Elite NFL, we have 8 people play and everyone gets 4 teams. But we don't do it via a draft. We do it via an auction. And Cody, along with everyone who's played EFG over the years, have evolved. We actually it's an elite style auction is what we call it. It's an auction with a very set of unique rules that it's not a straight up auction. It's an auction style that we've come up with over 10 years that is a really fun way to pick the teams, especially back in the day when we did it in person and we were all drunk at 2 o'clock in the morning trying to do math. But now we've kind of evolved and we do it video conferencing now. with the spreadsheet doing the math for us. But that's what an elite game is. And basically an elite game is, unlike a fantasy game requires weekly updates with players. A fantasy game is just you get your stable and then you sit back the rest of the year and watch your teams. So it's a lot less daily interaction, but it allows, as Cody said, it allows a more casual fan the chance to join in. Everyone has a favorite team, but when you play an elite game, you have either a favorite 4 teams or a favorite 3 teams so that you have more to root for every day. So that's what an elite game is. And so for every sport, we have an elite game and at least one fantasy game that we can. And that's what we've got our elite hockey game coming to an end this weekend with the regular season. So that's
how long did your elite fantasy elite hockey game run the whole season?
Yeah, it was regular. It was the entire regular season. So we did the auction back in what was it? October, September is when we did the auction. And every week I do the stats and I add up all the stats and I'll post weekly updates letting everyone know where they're at. Hey, this is how many wins your stable has this week and so forth, and post it that way. So again, it's a lot less interactive way of playing fantasy, which doesn't appeal to some, but it's really helped us grow our fan base because now I'll turn on the TV in the morning and see, oh, that's one of my baseball teams. They won this week. Great. Or they won last night. Or it's one of my basketball teams. So it gives you more than just your favorite teams to cheer for every week.
That sounds really cool. I'm definitely behind it. So we saw earlier the Texans had traded into this spot. They were fine. But let's see what they wanted to do. They got a guard, Green at Texas A&M, great guard. They're really trying to plus up that line and protect whoever the next quarterback is in there. It makes me wonder who they expect to be the next quarterback, but he's going to be well protected. So I love what you're saying about these elite games. I like that you're thinking outside the box, again, trying to make it more fun for the player. Do your elite games tend to have I guess maybe a higher payout? Is there a higher payout for an elite game, or what is the other than the unique challenge? What made you guys formulate this elite game versus just a regular fantasy game, I guess?
Okay, so let's take the NFL for instance. When we play an elite NFL draft, we go through, we do the auction. Let's say the draft's over. I will have 4 teams that I could afford with my budget. Let's say my budget was a fake $20. And we bid on increments until you've spent all your money, and then you walk away with your 4 teams. And what you're doing is praying that they win every single week because you just get a point for them winning.
Okay.
And at the end of the season, the highest payout is whoever has the best combo of 4 teams. And we also give side payouts for winning your division, championships, things like that.
So really, again, the idea of the elite game is to drive the more casual player in, the player who doesn't have time to worry about my quarterback shoulder's out, I got to get a replacement quarterback, or my running back has knee. It's for players who don't have time for that. Players who don't have time to run a fantasy league, because the elite game, you just get your portfolio, you get your 4 teams, or you get your 3 teams depending on the sport, and then you just have someone to cheer for. So it's a way to be involved in a fantasy type game without being so involved. And again, it's helped us really expand our player base. We have a lot of wives who play. We have a lot of sons and daughters who play because it's not as time consuming as a fantasy league.
Well, and that's what the draw is for me on that, is that I've got 3, 4, 5 leagues, and I want to play more, but I don't have the time. So I can play an elite game, which doesn't involve so much of my time. I don't have to sit there and study every position and stuff like I do my other leagues. And so now I can be involved in more fantasy games without taking up more time. I love the concept. Who's this behind you? And
one of our original EFG Nation members. This is Bob.
Nice to meet you, Bob. Welcome.
Bob, what's going on?
I came in with these guys and started playing these games way back when. I've got 4 kids. I cannot sit down. I cannot sit down and figure out, oh God, this wide receiver for this team got hurt. Oh, I've got to pull my backup. I've got to go pull from the wires. I've got to go. So I've done I've done Elite Pro. I've done Elite NFL. I've done Elite NCAA. I've done baseball. We did FIFA. We did World Cup. We did.
Love it.
I've done all sorts of stuff.
You won the
Olympics.
You won the first two. I don't know. You won the first two college basketball ones.
That's right.
That's actually that's worth a brag right there, because college basketball is so unpredictable. So to do that, yeah.
My favorite game out of this whole deal is the March Madness we do. It's not a normal bracket. We went, if your guys are 1 through 7, you get 1 point. If you're 8 through
1 through 8 and 9 through 12, 9 through 16.
9 through 16, you get 2 points. So it's the amount of points that you get by your wins, and you get a certain amount of payout for if you make this or this. And I get to sit down and watch the games and have multiple teams that I'm watching. So when I got my 4 NFL teams, they had to make a special rule one year that you can't get a team for free. Y'all remember Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I got for free. The Bob rule, man. I spent all my budget on 3 teams, and at the end of the draft, I was like, I'll take them. And they were like, no, you're out of money. I was like, that was not a rule when we started this.
You're the Kenny Pickett of Elite Fantasy Management.
Yes, as I was going to say, yes.
But as a dad with 4 kids, and I got 2 in scouts, 2 playing piano, 1 in dance, 1 in gymnastics, 1, and I'm running around, I can sit down and watch a game.
Holy crap.
And go, yeah, my team moved forward. All right, and then I can watch on, Monday morning. I know all my teams did well, and I picked my 4 teams based on preseason shows and based on, that really did fill up.
Sorry.
Based on however we get into the season, and I don't have to sit on top of it. I don't have to sit there and know every stat for every player. I am not that guy. I can't remember my last name.
I understand.
All right, so I just wanted to jump in and tell you.
No, I appreciate that. I've got 3 kids myself. I definitely understand. I've got 6 total. I got 3 at home, and I can definitely understand what you're talking about, especially with all the extracurriculars and stuff. Daniel, I'm guessing you're going down because the Ravens just traded Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown, to the Cardinals, so they've definitely got the replacement for Christian Kirk. Kyler Murray's a little happier now that he got that 5th-year option picked up, where he didn't want, because he wants that long term. But he's got Marquise Brown to throw to now, and the Ravens have another pick in the 1st round, so we'll see how that plays out later on. The Commanders traded down to get this pick. Clearly not going to be a wide receiver, because all the good ones I think are gone. I don't think they would have traded down to take a wide receiver. Knowing that they were going to go. So, and there it is. So we see they took a wide receiver after all. They probably wish they hadn't made that trade now, but I guess we'll see. Nothing wrong with Dotson, but I don't think he's in the same category as Wilson and Olave and et cetera. But we'll find out. Apparently, the Commanders think he is. So.
And just one last thing about Elite Games, if I could.
It doesn't have to be the last. We love what you guys are doing. Please talk about Elite Games all you like.
The thing I love about Elite Games is the auction, the Elite style auction. Again, it's not a normal auction. It's not going once, going twice, sold. That this is a different kind of auction altogether. And we like it so much, we've actually used it and adapted. We even have a fantasy league now that drafts its players through that style of auction. Because of the auction, we came up with that. We have one fantasy game that fits very well with that auction style. So that auction style is one of the things that we're really, really proud of, and how it's evolved. Again, well, we find a hole when a player finds a hole like Bob did on the Bob rules invented. So now that's implemented. So it's really grown year over year while we learn from our mistakes. And now that's what I think I'm most proud of about the Elite Games is the auction.
That's fantastic, man. I mean, to innovate stuff like that, we're really trying to do that for the trenches for this fantasy football reality show. We definitely got things like that where we're thinking outside the box. So you guys doing that and creating new ways to play, and that's one thing we're always talking about on our page. We see that on a lot of other pages where people are really seeking out new ways to do it. You've seen the dice where you roll the dice and you have to take that player in that round. So one dice will say 3, and the other dice will say tight end. So you have to take a tight end in the third round. Again, that's just something fun. It makes it more interesting for you guys to invent these type of things and revolutionize how fantasy football is played. I mean, that's initially why I reached out to you guys. And you guys don't disappoint. This is fantastic hearing what you guys are doing.
One of the other innovations we came up with over the years was our Player of the Year rankings. Now, whenever you play any game with Elite Fantasy Games or play EFG, play an EFG game, you'll earn Player of the Year points based on how well you finish. Obviously, the closer to the winner, you win more points than finishing at the bottom. But I also keep track of how many Player of the Year points you have. And at the end of the season, we announce the winners in 7 different categories: Elite Player of the Year, Fantasy Player of the Year, Pool Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, things like that. It doesn't come with any money, but it's just for bragging rights, and I think our players really like it. It's just an extra. It's something else you can win besides money.
Right.
Yeah, no, I think that is a big deal.
Our players really like that. Our players like to see that, the money I don't know. I like to think that they like it.
No, I definitely think you would. When you can look at that list, it's kind of like being on the BCS standings, right? Like where'd you land, right? Like I'm number 1, I'm number 2. I'd make the playoffs, whatever.
And so far, just for the 2022 season, we're about 76 unique players right now have played in at least one of our games since the Super Bowl.
Well, I think probably by come summer, come football, I think you can at least make it 78. Because I know I'm interested. I know Mike is definitely interested in getting into something like that, and especially like Bob talked about, being able to not have to put hours into it, and I can just kind of put a little bit of time and see what happens. I think that's a great way to be involved in fantasy sports. Because again, most players have more than one team. I love what you guys are doing. This is fantastic. I really appreciate you guys breaking this down for us, and honestly taking the time over the last decade to evolve your process, if you will.
Well, we really appreciate you all giving us a chance to come on and talk about it. This has been awesome for us. We're having a draft party here, but this has been.
We see it. We see everybody moving in the background. We apologize, everybody, for taking you guys away from the party, but we really appreciate you guys joining.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, you should see our Super Bowl parties. They're pretty great too.
Well, maybe next time, next year we will. We'll link up and we'll do a whole thing. Look, Daniel, Cody, again, thank you so much for joining us. Elite Fantasy Games, EFT as they call it. Check these guys out. We'll definitely pump you guys up on the page, and we appreciate what you guys are doing for fantasy players and just bringing everybody together the way you guys are, the way you guys have done it so selflessly and unselfishly. It's just great to see that.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. Really appreciate y'all.
Thank you guys so much.
Enjoy the draft, guys. Enjoy the season, and have a great one. Be safe out there.
Later.
Take care, guys. Well, there you go. EFG, Elite Fantasy Games, doing amazing things. It was even more than I had understood it to be. Those guys were really, kind of with the same goal in mind, really popping the lid off fantasy games in general, right?
Yeah, and really going the extra mile to do, getting into NASCAR and the fantasy games that don't normally get enough attention. I mean, even throw in something like the Oscars and some little sidebar stuff. I mean, that's really enjoyable. So we'll definitely have to look them up throughout the year. It's not just football season, It's every little season, every little Oscar, it's every little Super Bowl, it's every little championship, or every cup. I mean, can you imagine loving the game of fantasy so much that you get to play it year round. So
And
think that's something that they're on to.
the different things that they're doing, right? I mean, we talk about wrestling. I mean, Grammys, Emmys. I mean, that's way outside the box. That's super cool. We like to think that we're going outside the box doing this reality show, which we hope everybody will check out along the way. Keep an eye out for the first fantasy football reality show that's ever been done. But that's what Elite Fantasy Games is doing as well. They're changing the rules. They're changing the way fantasy is played. And what we absolutely share in common is the fact that we are doing it for the fans and to unite fantasy players everywhere and make those connections. So the Eagles just got A.J. Brown from the Titans.
It's huge. This is huge.
What are the Titans hoping to get out of this? Because the receivers are, I mean, the top receivers are. You're not replacing a receiver with a receiver. I guess maybe you're going offensive line. I would hope.
I want to see this so badly because
Mike Vrabel right there.
A.J. Brown, really?
I love me some A.J. Brown. I do. I love A.J. Brown. I do.
I love A.J. Brown. I don't know why you would trade him.
I don't know why you would trade A.J. Brown.
No. Eagles win that no matter what.
Now Hurts has A.J. Brown to throw to? Like, really? Like, come on.
Like now I have to draft Hurts again because he's got some really good talent. Okay, here we go. It's coming out. It's coming.
But can he do anything with it? That's the thing here. Wow, I'm really interested to see what Vrabel is going after here. I mean, Vrabel and staff.
You trade away wide receiver.
A.J. Brown.
Wide receiver.
What's crazy is that's how A.J. Brown just found out. Like, nobody gave him a heads up. He just found out watching the draft that
A.J. Brown is probably not even paying attention right now. It's like,
no, someone just texted him. You're like, dude, did you know you got traded to Philly? He's like, what?
Yeah. He's actually probably barbecuing with the family. He's like, I'm great. I'm elite.
He's not paying attention at all.
I don't know.
Here we go.
I already know.
You already looked it up.
Mm-mm.
You cheated. You're cheating. It's okay.
No, my TV is just a little bit faster than yours because.
Wow, really? They traded a wide receiver for a wide receiver. They just said. So this is what Tennessee just said.
Yes.
Tennessee said that Treylon Burks. Not to take anything away from Treylon Burks, but Treylon Burks is better than A.J. Brown. They just told A.J. Brown Treylon Burks is better than you, so we're trading you out for him. That's what just happened.
I mean, I'm watching.
That's amazing to me. They're going to compare him to A.J. Brown.
Okay, so the only reason why this makes sense, the only reason is cash. Like,
I guess you're saving money because you don't have to pay the kid for a couple years. You're getting a younger player, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, I'm definitely drafting Derrick Henry again because they're going to ride him. Because I mean, realistically, normally should take a dip a little bit, but I don't know.
Here's the fun thing that ESPN just did. And I don't know if anybody's going to pick up on this, not trying to say that I'm picking up on things ESPN isn't. They just put this kid, Treylon, in and compared him to A.J. Brown. Okay, that's fine. That's who they traded for. And then they threw him in the same category as Deebo Samuel. So they think all three of these guys are, basically the same person.
Burks has a half an inch more, and he weighs 1 pound less. And he's a little bit slower on the 40-yard dash. So that pans out. Like
I'm confused. I missed something.
I missed
something somewhere. If you're watching, hit the link and come on into the room, talk with us live, or just, send us a comment. We can see those too.
T says
Brown wasn't happy in Tennessee. I don't know. I don't know the guy. T might know the guy. Maybe he's on his Facebook. I'm not sure. But I'd heard that before. So the Saints are on the clock again. So we'll see how this happens. Oh, things just got nice. Things got real exciting. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to welcome back the guru himself. You may remember the third pick. Kuiper had a defensive guy. McShay had a defensive guy, but not our boy Bryce right here. Oh, no, Bryce is gone. I lost Bryce. Bryce fell off the link. He's going to come back. He's going to die. Bryce is coming back, but that's what I was about to come in. Okay, so Marquise Brown is now a Cardinal. A.J. Brown is now an Eagle. So the Birds, all the teams with Birds, are getting, mid-tier receivers right now in exchange for wide receiver picks, actually. Well, no, the Ravens took a safety.
Yeah, we're trading away Marquise Brown. The Ravens messed up.
Well, the Ravens kind of messed up, I think. Bryce, can you hear me? Bryce is showing, but he's not showing. I'm waiting for Bryce to. Oh, Bryce is connecting. Here we go. Nope.
Faking him out. That's all right. The Saints picks are in. And they're going to take.
I need Bryce to come in here. I got to hear what he's got to say. Is it the same link? It is the same link. Okay. Bryce, I want you on. Something is wrong with the connection. I'm not sure what. We're trying to get Bryce on right now. I'm just not seeing his picture. I don't know. T. Hall says he's been rumored for weeks. I'm sure Bryce knew that was going to happen. I have no doubt, and I don't mean that sarcastically. Bryce, are you there? Are you not now, Bryce? I cannot see his picture. Man, I want Bryce to come back. I'm going to resend him the link is what I'm going to do.
Tell me to just type it in. That might help.
Where are we at?
Well, the Saints picks in.
Oh, I did the wrong thing. Oh, no.
This year, I love how much further I am ahead of you in the draft. Maybe it's because traveling from Vegas.
What are you talking about? You're ahead of me in the draft right now.
I'm so far ahead of you, it's not even funny.
I don't even know what you're saying.
I know the pick before you do.
You've clearly had too much to drink.
No, I know the pick before.
Well, I agree with you. You. I think you're probably on a site. I just have it on the TV, and
no, mine's on the TV.
What's that? Oh, here we go. I definitely do not have that picture.
I'm gonna go with Trevor Penning right now.
Oh yeah, what's you gonna do? Yeah, I'm watching this guy fly a plane.
I'm gonna throw it out there right now.
I don't know why my thing is lagging so bad. I hate my thing. All right, but
Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa. That's not something you hear about often. So the big boy, the big tackle, hats off to him.
Well, this is so we're in a new era, right? So this is the let's do that. This is the Sean Payton-less era of the Saints. I got to tell you, I'm not impressed with the start so far. Nothing against Trevor Penning. I actually think Trevor Penning's getting an offensive tackle. I'm without weighing in on Penning as an individual, but getting an offensive tackle is probably good for the Saints. I think that's a good move. Again, with all the trades and stuff like that, I don't know if it was necessary, but they're doing what they want to do. Obviously, I have some stock in this. So Steelers are on the clock. I'm very, very interested.
I'm very interested.
Where do you think they're going? I have my idea where
Go.
The
Tell
Steelers
me
are going.
what you want. Tell me. I want
You
to
want to
hear.
go first? Oh, it is my team, right?
Yeah.
I think this is where we see Malik Willis come off the board. This is where Malik Willis comes.
Okay.
I don't know why I can't.
Somebody on NFL says Kennedy Pickett. Is really Kenny Pickett gonna?
So the thing is, so the nice thing about Pickett, right? Because where did Pickett play? Pickett has literally spent his entire career, high school, college, in Pittsburgh. So it's not a far reach to see that. But as we talked about, Willis is seemingly much better than Pickett, and so I'm hoping that they see past all the hype and they get past all the Pittsburgh stuff, and that they take Willis. I actually just lost my feed because I've been trying to fix it, so I'm relying on you to tell us what the next pick is.
I can tell you pretty soon, but here's the thing. Okay, outside of quarterback or even trade for Mayfield, none of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No quarterback. What does the Steelers take?
I would guess, I mean, with the way the board is right now, though, I mean, I would have said wide receiver to replace Juju, but I think a lot of the top talent is off, which is another reason I think Willis. So I would probably go defensive side of the ball, or you could go off. You can make an argument for either one because you need both, right? You need an offensive line and defensive line. So who knows? I really think it's going to be Malik Willis right here. I really think that's going to be the guy that they go for, especially with Ben being gone. I think they're going to look to groom that next quarterback.
You know what? I'm going to actually jump on board with you there. I think Malik Willis is going to go out right here.
Oh, see? I've lost my entire feed right now. This is horrible.
Oh, well, good news is the pick is in.
Oh, good. You're going to have to let me know what it is because I have no clue.
We'll give you updates when it comes up. But the Steelers, I kind of want Malik Willis to go here.
I do too, honestly.
I'm ready for some offense, like I know
yeah.
heavy this week, but give me some offense. Yeah. And NFL is saying Kenny Pickett's the guy to go to right now. I'm kind of with our guy Bryce. He might fall short. I think he's Darnold-esque. Maybe I think he's probably better than Darnold in a way, but
God, I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, especially if Steelers take him right now. But you're
Exactly.
going to be in trouble.
That's the thing.
I think you'll be in better hands with Willis.
No, I do too. It's
going to hurt me because I'm keeping Steelers running back right now on my team, and it's going to hurt me probably if they end up using them. Oh, they lost Taco Charlton.
Who?
Steelers.
What?
Yeah, Taco Charlton is no longer on the team.
What are you talking about? What are you tacoing about?
What are you talking about? I'm just reading the screen. That's all it's saying.
Well, stop doing that because I can't read it.
You can't read good?
I can't.
Mike Tomlin never finished a losing record in the 15 season or
Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
I love it. I hope he makes it to 20, maybe 25.
The pick is in.
Yes. Come on.
This is what we know. Dead air. See, this is the problem with being invested is now I want to know what's going to go. Defensive end Johnson is like the best available. And I can't really argue that too much. They could use McDuffie at cornerback. But I'm really honestly kind of hoping they take Willis. We're gonna be those guys. We're gonna be the team quarterback.
No, please tell me it's not true.
What? It's not fair because I can't see it.
Your boy Pickett?
Yeah. Did they take him? They did not take Pickett.
They took Pickett over Malik Willis. Are you
Wow. What are they doing?
They could have picked somebody else and then taken
Yes.
Pickett in the next round.
Yes, we got Pickett. Yes. Go Steelers. Steelers are going to the Super Bowl. What is going on right now?
You got to change your jersey now. Like,
Oh, man.
I like the guy. But he was the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award.
Oh, was he? No, great. It's like being a Golden Gloves in the Navy. Like, who the fuck isn't a Golden Gloves in the Navy?
Easy now. We got Navy fans, like 3 of
Oh,
them.
I love the Navy. The Navy's fantastic. I was join the Navy, but yeah. Damn it.
Navy was actually last on my list. But you know what? I'm really happy for Kenny Pickett right now. Just took a sip and in tears. He's loving it.
I appreciate that at least.
I mean,
at least
when you think about it, you just got drafted by the Steelers. I'd be so emotional right now. I'd be like bawling my eyes.
No, I mean that's a huge deal. You're going to the show, right?
Yeah, you're going to the show. You're going to the Steel Curtain. You're going to the elite of. I mean, the coach hasn't had a losing season. You're going to a team who's going to give you one more win at least than Moss. And,
That's right. It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. If you are that guy who gets a losing record, it's going to fall on you, especially if he's a starting player.
Exactly.
So, like, this isn't pick number one.
No
But
pressure.
you got a lot on your shoulders. Like, okay. Is Pickett better than their starter right now?
At least no, because the starter at least has played some NFL games. The problem with Pittsburgh is they don't have anybody.
Pickett's the starter.
Well, they don't. Well, no, I'm not. No, not necessarily. Because, and I'll say, I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't start. I hope he gets a chance to learn because that never works out. Very seldom works out. Obviously, Pickett's not that caliber of guy where it's going to work out. But the thing is the problem is there's nobody there for him to learn from. You know, you go to Green Bay, you got Aaron Rodgers to learn from, even though he won't teach you anything. You know, you back up Wilson, you back up Brady. At least you got someone to watch and learn from.
Brady had Testaverde.
There's nobody there to learn from. Ben's gone. There's nobody there to learn from. So yeah, I kind of. But at least he doesn't have to. At least he doesn't have to move.
The Chiefs traded up.
The Chiefs have traded. That's interesting.
That's very interesting.
But they have had some losses, right?
I really hope. I only say this because I have the number 1 pick in a dynasty league, and I hope they take Breece Hall right here. I know that's reaching, and it's probably not smart.
Are we surprised that Breece Hall is not gone yet? Are we surprised that people have not jumped
because
that?
McCaffrey, Barkley, although they are some of my favorite running backs to watch, they're injured and they haven't been protected like they should have. And it kind of falls on the play calls and the coaching. But sadly, the value of a running back is so powerful for a team, but it also turns into they don't last 10, 15 years. So normal.
I'm sure I'm way behind. I'm watching Pickett put on his hat and get all his hugs and all that.
Oh yeah, you're definitely a minute or two behind.
Yeah, it's Hulu, so it's fine. But at least I can see something.
So the first, so it's been.
Did you see how many hot chicks Pickett was surrounded by, though?
I did not. I was just looking at him.
No,
enjoying his
he
moment.
is sitting on a couch, or he was surrounded by just smoking hot women.
Yeah, that's probably going to be a problem for him. In the
Maybe.
coming years.
Yeah.
I mean, when you are number one.
I cannot believe over Malik Wilson. And you know, this does two things to me. And follow along, everybody who's watching. This does two things for me. Number one, the general consensus is that at least Malik, if not other guys, are better skilled than Pickett. So did they take the best quarterback available? Probably not. Number two, they just made sure that depending on where Willis goes, but any chance he gets to play Pittsburgh, he's going to put it on him for passing him over. Like Malik is just going to
yeah.
He's got a chip on his shoulder now. Like,
I hope Malik.
Okay, Pittsburgh, you want to pass me over? See what happens.
Yeah.
And you hear it all the time from NFL quarterbacks. They remember that shit.
Yeah. You know what's funny? The Kansas City Chiefs moved up to get cornerback Trent McDuffie. That's what they moved up for.
Because they're going to lose Matteo or Mathau or however you want to say it.
No, they shouldn't lose him. They should pay him. I don't know why they don't.
I agree. But that's why they're not.
Kansas City,
right there.
Kansas City failed that for sure.
The draft has definitely gone off the rails right now. I apologize for standing up here in front of everybody.
I just got A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill, and Devontae Adams have all been traded. Think about that. Think about that when you're drafting next year. Think about how hard the draft's going to be come this year. Like, are they going to have the camaraderie, the connection? You know, I don't know. I'm so mad I opened my mouth 6 months ago saying I was going to win this year. I don't know if I can now. At this point, I might auto draft and just say and blame it on the auto draft. That's my only saving grace at this point.
How is Kansas City's quarterback feeling right now?
Quarterback?
Yeah, you know. How's Kid Wonder feeling about now?
They sold away his fastest wide receiver and got a defensive player. Probably not great.
Probably not great. This is what I see when I pull you up, Bryce. If you can hear me, I don't know why we're not getting the connection right now, but we're not. And Bryce is gone again. Bryce is trying to get back in. I'm definitely interested in what he has to say with the craziness that is going on right now.
And Green Bay's pick is in.
Oh, the word.
Number 22. And
they're going to take a wide receiver, right?
They should, but they were, consensus said it was Treylon Burks, but he's gone.
Yeah.
And Dotson's gone, right? I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, he sure is.
Malik Willis. Come on, let's
There
go.
you go. Oh my God, are you serious?
No,
Did
no, I
Green
wish.
Bay
I
just
want-
draft a quarterback? Are you
I
kidding
want it
me?
to be so badly.
That is awesome.
Come on, like
that is the best pick of the draft so far. Green Bay.
no, I wish it was. I wish it was. I don't know yet. I want to know. Like I could see it. Come on, like that would just shake up everything.
Oh, I thought you were saying that's what the pick was. I hate you.
Oh
right
no,
now.
are you kidding? Like, can you really? Like, why would you pay someone $200 million and then?
Well,
say,
that's what I'm saying. You know, freaking Aaron Rodgers would just be like throwing a.
You know, Green Bay's brass is just garbage. They're like, oh yeah, we'll take a quarterback right now. We just paid ours for fucking 4 years.
Oh, I wish. I wish.
Okay, it's in now. Quay Walker, linebacker from Georgia.
That's a good pick. I get that.
Yeah, solid pick.
Solid pick. Solid pick there.
It still doesn't help. They're overpaid quarterback now. Nothing against Aaron Rodgers. I think he's a great quarterback, but I think he's still overpaid.
I just can't believe. Okay, so here's my issue right now. And I don't know what happened. I don't know what rumors are out. I don't know what's going on. But Jermaine Johnson is still out there. Jermaine Johnson was predicted to go in the top 10, if not the top 5. And he's still out there. It's very interesting. I don't know what happened or what's going on. Maybe Arizona picks him up now. God forbid he goes to Dallas. Jesus, they've already got a pretty...
Maybe a character thing?
Maybe? I don't know. But then again, if he had a character thing, then why was he predicted to go in the top 10?
I don't know. And then I guess Minnesota traded. I just saw something on the screen.
Jermaine Johnson can play either as defensive end or outside linebacker. Quick feet, quick hands.
Well, listen, I'm going to get a refill while this trade's going on because they just clock reset.
Yeah.
Buffalo, I guess, is on the clock.
What's that?
I think Buffalo's on the clock because there's a trade.
Oh, because of the trade. All right, let's see what happens now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you are getting your money's worth on the draft. Pretty insane what's going on. A lot of trades, a lot more trades than we expected. Just some really surprising picks right now. I'm kind of at a loss for words. It's pretty crazy to see. And again, it was already kind of a hard draft to predict, but to see these picks as they are coming down, if you could have predicted this one, if you had the perfect draft board on this one, even our boy Bryce isn't pulling this one off. This is crazy. I'm loving this draft. It's just awesome. This is what we wanted, right? This is the thing that we were talking about, and this is what we wanted to happen. We wanted to have a draft worth watching. So here you go, ladies and gentlemen. Draft worth watching. Engage. Pretty amazing. I like this. Wow. Okay, so if you have some thoughts on it, if you're watching this along with us, I don't know if you're as speechless as I am right now. T says that no Baker yet. He's absolutely right.
Nope.
And I don't think you're going to see. If you haven't seen it now, I don't think you'll see it until afterwards. This is just. I don't
know if we'll see Baker this weekend. I'm not really that excited about Pickett. I think it's an okay pick, but frustrating. Let's put it that way. Just strange, unpredictable, falling short of exciting, but a lot of movement. So
I think it's actually very exciting because
fantasy-wise, it's unexciting.
The thing that's exciting to me is we see these trades, and we're like, okay, like what's the big player that people? And then you see what they traded for. Is like, wait a minute, what just happened?
I think they just did that. Like really traded up. I think Kansas City gets the star for trading up for someone who they could have gotten later on.
Right. Yeah. I mean, a lot of these trades just aren't making sense to me.
I feel like sometimes like all those back channel between all the teams are like, hey, I might take this guy, at 17, and you have pick, 29. Then they jump for that reason. Just I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
This is
there's a lot of people to
draft, to say the least. And the thing is I talked about, and I brought this up before about how I didn't really think it was a sexy draft because there was going to be so many defenders going, and there still will be. But you see, we definitely these last 10 picks or so, there's been some drama going on. And there's going to be things that people are going to be analyzing for quite a few days. Nothing short of this last pick for sure. Pickett going to, well, not the last pick, but a couple picks back with Pickett going to the Steelers. Malik getting overlooked. I think that was a mistake, but I guess we'll find out. Like they said on the show, we'll see how this plays out.
I really hope Breece Hall doesn't go to the Bills.
Does that make? I mean, well, I guess what makes sense and what doesn't make sense is irrelevant at this point. But
no, the Bills select Kaiir Elam, cornerback. So
I think that's actually a good pick for the Bills.
So Bills are now going to get another talent on the defense, on an already great defense and solid offense.
Well, and I think that's the thing is that their offense is solid.
Yeah.
So to take a defender is probably a good move. You got to have backups and backups and backups, right? So I'm cool with it. Let's see.
That was.
So we're winding down. We're getting to the end of the draft.
Dallas is on the clock. Who does Dallas take?
I mean, you think they got to go offense, but I don't know who they go. Well, I mean, honestly,
they did trade away their wide receivers, so
I don't want to give Dallas a lot of credit, but I mean, with Johnson still out there, maybe Jones, picks him up.
I don't know. I think with Amari Cooper going to the Browns, I'm not saying they won't go offense wide receiver here, but
So let's talk about that a little bit. So you're, obviously a Browns fan.
No, I'm no longer a Browns fan after the.
You're no longer a Browns fan. I think that might be the wrong move with Watson. I understand your loyalty to Baker there, but now with Watson and Cooper there, they could get real dangerous.
They could if their quarterback QB1 actually plays.
And that is the thing.
If he plays, I think they're still going to be a decent team. If he doesn't, they're not going to make the Super Bowl. Like, not going to happen.
Well, I mean, okay, so let's say let's say Watson doesn't play, right? Let's say Watson doesn't play,
and Baker Mayfield is the quarterback, and he says, "You know what? Fine, I'll stick it out. I'll play," and takes him to a Super Bowl. I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine what that does? Like, it would just everybody in the front office would be fired. Everybody.
Well, so I'm going to say is if Watson doesn't play, is Mayfield going to play? Or is he just going to play again?
If I was Mayfield, I wouldn't play. It's not about crying and whining at that point. It's no. You wanted your guy for 100%. 230, 40 million, whatever it is. You play him. Oh, he can't play? I'm not going to play. Listen, Mayfield's not hurting for money, and he can play and start somewhere else. And they did him dirty. I say move on. I would never play another live game down for the Browns if I was Mayfield, and I stand by that. It isn't about whining at this point. It's about they did him dirty, and I hope that they gave their new quarterback as much trouble as they gave Mayfield, and then expect him to be elite like they're paying him.
Like they're paying him.
They will pay him, and